Biegel. Well, good morning. September 15th, 2014, a brand new work week on the Fagan, Biegel, and Monty broadcast. There's Monty and Glenn. They're right sitting across from me. How you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Things going well for both of you. You have a good weekend. You relax.
Yep.
Power tools were involved.
You having a big renaissance at your house, huh?
That's right.
Big renovation.
Shed building.
And you got the big Team Beagle working out there with you. You're not doing all the work, I hope.
Mm-hmm. No. No, Matthew was out in force. Mm-hmm.
Matthew, yeah. I would imagine he probably adds to the chores.
Yeah.
Because you got to watch him, and then.
That's right.
But Gregory, he's probably at that age now where he's beginning to be somewhat of a help.
He could be if he was out there. I think what happened was he came out, found my phone, and then I'm not sure what happened after that.
I noticed when I was there the other night, he was a big fan of my phone. He likes phones.
Oh,
Gregory.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they're the game consoles of the 2010s, I guess.
Yeah, you go around shopping in the store and grocery shopping, and all you see is little kids in their carts playing their parents' phones. It's hilarious.
So your next son is Michael? That's the one your clone.
My clone, so I got Reagan, he's the oldest.
Right.
And then Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas is your clone.
Mm-hmm.
I called him David and Michael so far.
Yeah. I don't have a David or a Michael.
I think I even know it's Thomas by now.
Yeah, but this, I'm telling you, when I saw Glenn this morning, I said, you could be David's clone. Of course, I was referring to
Thomas.
David,
Michael, or Thomas.
I asked them when I'm over there if they could all wear name tags.
Right on their foreheads.
They wouldn't put them on.
That'd be helpful.
But this kid, I'm telling you, I've never seen a father and son look more alike. Have you met Thomas?
I have not.
It's absolutely amazing.
I've only met your oldest daughter.
Omara.
Right? The one who went to college?
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, it's not just, and I've not talked with Thomas much.
Does he not say much?
He's not a very talkative kid.
Not yet.
But you can tell just by his facial expressions, he's brilliant.
Wow.
He's sitting there, he's just taking everything in.
Is that intimidating? To have a young kid be that? It is to me.
Really?
I get intimidated around smart kids.
Really? Well, if it's a Beagle clan, they're going to be smart.
It's like, I might know more than you now, but I'm not going to know more later.
Here's a line that could get me in trouble. Even the women in the Beagle family are going to be smart.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm kidding. For the ladies out there, I'm kidding.
Right.
Not that, like, oh, even women can be smart. But this kid, Michael, he's just sitting there, and his mind's working. Actually, my nephew, Kevin, who's probably going to be valedictorian in this high school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this year. Well, he's trying for it. But my nephew Kevin's the same way. Very intelligent. Very intelligent. But Michael, you can just tell. He's just one of those kids that, man.
Thomas.
Well, Thomas, right there. Steve. Steve. I'll tell you what really bothered me.
I call them all Frank. Every last one of them.
I'll tell you what
Even the girls.
I'll tell you what was a real wake-up moment for me, and it's still one that I'm having some difficulty with. I'd say 5 years ago now. My nephew's 17, so he's about 13, and he had taken up chess.
Oh.
And I'm not the greatest chess player in the world, but I'm pretty good. I beat more people than beat me.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a little knack for the game.
Have you been playing 5-year-olds or?
Well,
nothing like that.
I haven't played since I played my nephew, and he absolutely smoked me. It was so bad that after 3 games, he said, Uncle Danny, I really don't want to play anymore.
This is boring.
And I said, no. You're going to play me until I beat you. Because
we don't have that kind of time. In other words, lose on purpose.
Right. Well,
that's the instruction.
Talking about how I like to be competitive. When you lose to a 13-year-old, that's just not going to. And I was never one of these uncles who let his nephews win.
Yeah.
I'm no. You have to earn the victory.
Mm-hmm.
I'd let them win in arm wrestling. When they were like 4. But after 4, you've got to earn your victories.
How gallant of you.
Thank you. I mean, when I played my nephew and he was 6 in basketball and he'd shoot, I completely, like I was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, just slammed the ball down in his face. So I have no honor in that area. But I said, Kevin, you are going to play me one more time. He goes, okay. And then like 5 moves, check. I wanted to, as a good example to this young man, just wipe all the pieces under the ground and thaw out, get out, walk out.
That'd been good.
Temper tantrum. And the thing about Kevin is he's such a sweet kid.
Oh yeah.
He is such a sweet young man. Anyway.
Well, to be valedictorian to me, that really is.
Yeah, well,
I have to be so dedicated. There's so many distractions in life, and you can never really let your guard down. You know that he really is destined for greatness.
Well, I was talking to my mother about it. She said that he's really going for it. There's no guarantee, but he's going to give it his best. But he's that intelligent.
Now, what does that mean? He's going to give it? Because valedictorian is where you have the highest GPA.
Yes. Well, he's really. My sister Mary, who, and I don't know, I honestly think they don't like me doing this, but they can deal with it. My sister Mary, every Friday when she was in high school, she did not go to school.
Oh yeah.
But she never got a B.
Uh-huh.
My sister Mary is ridiculous, and her thing is math. She was a chemical engineer, and so my nephew Kevin, which is her son, has that same kind of aptitude, but he's taking it serious. And my sister Mary, it's so funny, she's worried that he's taking it too seriously. Because she's real laid back. She's like me, you're only going to do whatever it takes to get the job done, not more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I am. That's how my sister Mary is. But she was so smart and made up for her lackadaisical attitude. But she told my mom, she said, I'm really worried about Kevin. He's so conscientious and so into his schoolwork now. It's almost too much. That's a crazy family, huh?
Yeah, how can you say that's too much as a parent?
Well, I guess
my sister Mary believes foremost and utmost that life should be fun.
Good.
And she is, that's how she is as a mother. Her kids are gonna have fun. They're great kids, and she has boundaries and perimeters, but she plays with those kids. She's the funnest one in the group.
More than you, Dan?
It's close. We'll all get around and have water fights, and they've got a pool. It's
Are you competitive in the water fights too?
Oh yeah. My littlest niece.
Giving the 3-year-old a swirly.
I remember
that. How's that for a water fight?
Yeah, my youngest niece, Laura, she was like 4, and I got her good, man. I just blasted her out of the water.
Oh my gosh.
It was awesome. She didn't see me coming.
That's awful.
Now, see, I think that the son, what was his name again?
Kevin.
I think Kevin has a different view on life than Mom. That's my guess, that he thinks life is about fulfillment rather than fun. And that's the tension that's going on there, is that he's got a different view on what life is for than Mom, and Mom doesn't like that. That's why she's worried that it's not that she's worried that he's not going to have fun, that her expression of it is, this is too much.
But there's no one in life who has a more fulfilling life than my sister Mary.
Sure.
Maybe he just got the competitive gene from Dan.
Maybe. I think he's the most like me of all my nieces and nephews. 6:14. Stay with us, folks.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
This is Dr. Ellenberg. Are you tired of taking medications? Do your medications create more side effects than solutions? Do you want more than 15 minutes with your doctor? If you answer yes to those questions, you should consider calling the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine. At our center, we take the time to listen and focus on finding the cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
I'm Leslie Moore. I teach 7th grade here in Anchorage. I'm tired of the DC outsiders coming to Alaska to falsely attack Dan Sullivan. Don't believe their dishonest ads. The truth is, Dan Sullivan has stood up for Alaskans and delivered results. I've seen it firsthand. After the financial crisis, my pension took a big hit. It was a difficult time for all Alaska teachers, but Attorney General Dan Sullivan fought back, forcing a Wall Street firm to pay for their malpractice, putting almost $500 million back into the retirement fund for Alaskans.
Dan Sullivan stood up to Wall Street and Washington as our Attorney General and DNR Commissioner, fighting for Alaska.
Dan Sullivan stood up for me and every Alaskan teacher. He's a man of the highest integrity, and he will fight for Alaskans, not for the big money special interests. This is a critical time for our nation and state. We need more people like Dan Sullivan fighting for us in the U.S. Senate.
I'm Dan Sullivan, and I approve this message.
Paid for by NRSC and authorized by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
You know, there are many people in Anchorage who have their own special place for gifts for occasions like Mother's Day or birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. Into Bell's Nursery and Gifts they go. And there's always something perfect. Bell's Gift Shop on Specking Road has a truly incredible selection of unique, creative gift ideas. Crystal, glass, and china and flatware, a wonderful kitchen section, candles, lotions and potions, and of course delicious C's candies, and lots more. Great for browsing or finding that special gift. The Gift Shop at Bell's Nursery on Specking Road.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays, 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
Well, good morning to you on a 6/17. 6/17 is the time. It's September 15th, 2014. Glen Biegel is right over there. There's Bonnie Cameron. My name is Dan Fagan. Summer's just walking out the door, huh? It's kind of waving.
Not yet.
Hasn't left yet.
No, this morning was warm.
It was so nice this weekend.
Oh, wasn't it?
Beautiful.
Oh, gorgeous. 569-1080, 569-1080. You know, that was interesting. The last thing you were talking about pursuing happiness versus
Fulfillment.
And I was thinking, two words that I was thinking about recently was pursuing pleasure versus joy.
Mm-hmm.
And I would characterize pleasure. Well, this is the book I was reading. It went a little bit like this. There's a guy talking about how his wife loves horses, and she loves to ride horses. That's her thing. He could care less about horses. He doesn't really enjoy riding them. There's nothing about horses that he enjoys. He loves playing basketball. He loves watching sports. And he says that he regularly will choose, instead of watching a football game, which gives him great pleasure, he will go down to their house in the backyard and watch his wife ride horses, which he says gives him joy.
Mm-hmm.
Because seeing her happy is what makes him joyful on the inside. And the idea that joy and happiness is different. Joy is something that's almost in the heart, whereas happiness is, you just took a bite from a big sandwich or something. It's temporary.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that the main point that he was trying to make is the difference between pleasure and joy is where our culture misses it. We're so obsessed with pleasure. Whatever makes us happy at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Football, whatever. In Bonnie's case, watching croquet shows or sewing. I don't know what you do. Food Channel, I don't know.
I think he meant crochet.
Whatever it is.
I've done none of those.
But joy is
It
eternal.
would give you great happiness if you did watch that.
But he basically said joy is eternal, it's everlasting, and it's much deeper, and it's always based in relationship.
Well, I think of Mother Teresa.
Perfect.
Yeah. She's the most joyful person who ever lived, or at least recently. But boy, did she ever deny herself. She had a tough life. She had it really hard.
You know that there is a gal who lives in the valley, Laura Makita, who worked for Mother Teresa for a year.
Oh, wow.
And I spoke with her about the experience one, and it will knock you out when she talks about Mother Teresa and she was young. She's like 19 or something. I think she's in her 30s or 40s now, but when you hear her talk about her experience with Mother Teresa, it's gut-wrenching how bad it is over there.
Yeah.
In Calcutta and
just starvation and disease and just abject, really, really abject poverty. People with, and they're just trying to figure out how to make it another couple hours.
Yeah, that's right. and to see Mother Teresa hold these babies in her arms, and yeah, it'll get you. It'll get you. I wouldn't recommend it if you're opposed to crying.
But yeah, so
that would be the perfect example of joy versus pleasure.
That was really sweet, by the way.
What?
That story was really romantic.
Romantic? What are you talking about?
He gets joy from watching his wife ride horses.
The first story.
Yes.
Not Mother Teresa.
Oh, no.
Nothing
romantic about that.
Yeah. No, it is. This guy's a great guy. He's a friend of mine. It's really kind of it's a choice,
Mm-hmm.
Joy versus pleasure.
Yeah, well, definitely our culture is all about pleasure. That's really, and I think you find as cultures mature, that is essentially where they end up
in pleasure.
Yeah, rather than joy, and as our country has aged and has gone on, sort of taking care of most of the basics, that's really what's left, because pleasure is something that you get addicted to, you get used to, and then you need more of, and
it never satisfies.
And it's all about self.
Yeah, all about self,
gratification.
and then you can never get it fast enough. You can never get enough of it. It's why these people with no, with no limitations on their pleasure, they just basically lose it over time. The Wall Street dudes, some of the movies that have come out here recently, people in Hollywood,
So when you say a culture matures, you're basically saying that here in the United States of America, our culture is relatively young, and we've evolved into this pleasure-seeking culture as opposed to what it was when times were a little tougher, when we didn't have everything at our disposal.
Yeah, and it's really
free
the
meals
reason.
at school.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was not an easy place to live. Alaska wasn't an easy place to live. I mean, you look at the difference between living in Alaska now versus before.
Well, like what would living in Alaska in the 70s? How old were you in the 70s?
I was 10 or so.
Okay, so let's say early 80s living in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the big difference?
It would cost an inordinate amount of money to get to the bush. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to go somewhere that was off, no, I don't think so. I think actually you could get in and out of the bush relatively inexpensively and fast. So I think that's a big difference. Just doing just about whatever you want in Alaska now costs a huge amount less money than it used to.
Every time I flew to any village via Channel 2, it always cost us an arm and a leg.
Yeah, but back then, yeah, I agree.
No, I mean, this is 8 years ago.
I think you can get around Alaska relatively cheap.
Really?
Yeah. I think that the airlines prices. I don't know. I mean,
it's about $350 round trip to Nome and back. That's pretty much the only thing I've looked at.
That's actually a lot cheaper than it was when I was in Channel 2.
Yeah.
So maybe things have gotten better.
Anyway, so I don't know, but I just think back the lack of roads. Most places there were a lot of potholes. And
was it more expensive to live here because you didn't have the Costco's and the Walmarts?
I didn't have to. There were still stores up here where you could go get bulk product, which is where we shop.
Bulk product?
Bulk.
Oh.
You get things in bulk. You get large quantities.
It'd be cheaper that way.
I remember Price Savers.
Price Savers. There's one across on an old Seward Highway there.
So
by 36.
It wasn't more expensive to live here back then, or was it? You have Walmart?
No, there was no Walmart.
I remember that coming to town, and I think Kmart was here first.
I'm
not sure.
Well, but that was a big deal.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah. The idea that you can get a tube of toothpaste for $1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for
you
a family
can fill a grocery cart at Walmart for $20.
Yeah.
It's so cheap.
I don't know. I never get out of there for less than 100.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't know. Everything has changed in reality here in Alaska.
So as things get easier,
I think
it's human nature to go.
That's my guess.
Pleasure over
Which
joy.
is one of the reasons why I think we'll be such a better country when we stop spending our kids' money. When we stop running deficits, when we stop printing money, things will get a little harder, and we'll start making decisions. This is really important, and this is not so important. And when we decide what's really important and what's not so important, we'll become better people.
I watched Atlas Shrugged this weekend.
Oh, I got to go watch it.
Oh, well, I didn't watch the third one at the movie theater, but I watched 1 and 2, parts 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
And wow.
Can we go together? Dan doesn't want to go. He doesn't like.
Was
He doesn't
the
like.
acting bad?
That's
all I need to know.
No.
That's all I need to know. It's like because they,
I don't care about acting.
conservatives always try to, justify the movie. The acting's horrid.
Was the book good? Because I'd like to read the book
was
now.
Great, yeah.
Here's the question that you should answer. Did you like the acting?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Then you don't try to answer Dan because you'll never be able to answer Dan.
No,
it's
annoying because they have different actors. They have a whole new cast, and so there was part 1. I got used to the part 1 people, and then they went to part 2, all new people. Yeah. And now I've heard the same thing for part 3, all new cast.
I'm not surprised. That's got to be a way that they hold the cost down.
It is. They
added bad acting.
No, I like the acting too. So I never try to answer Dan's question, by the way, because you're trying to answer it putting yourself in his place with these totally outrageous expectations.
That's all I need to know. That's hilarious.
So anyway, you answer the question. Did
really,
you like the acting?
Is it
you could
really
say, yes, I like
too much to ask to have someone in a movie who can act? Is that really
I like the acting.
Too high of a standard?
I honestly like the acting. Okay,
I did get into
it was not distracting. I thought
No.
the people they played their parts very well. I thought it was well directed. You were engrossed in the movie.
I did. I really got into it.
Yeah.
So now I need to go see 3.
Me too. So you and I will go together and we'll ditch Dan.
That's right.
Ditching Dan.
He read the book, so he knows how it ends.
25 years ago.
Yeah, I never read
my
the
word,
book.
is it
You
that
never
old?
read it?
No.
That's a good book.
I read 1984 and Brave New World, which were
I never read-
transformation, but I never read Animal Farm, and I never read Ayn Rand's books.
She was an atheist.
Yeah.
Some of the most brilliant things you'll see on YouTube is Phil Donahue interviewing her.
Yeah.
And she's so brilliant, but she's so off. It's basically survival of the fittest, which technically is a good way to go. It's a much better way to go than, we're going to put all our energy and resources into the people who make the worst decisions in life. She was completely the opposite of what the left believes because she was an atheist.
Yeah.
So there was no compassion. There was no room for grace or mercy in her worldview.
Yeah.
It was just, you do the right thing or you die.
And why
Good
do
luck
the
to
right
you.
thing? Why do the right thing?
Yeah.
She was harsh. I do think, by the way, that John Galt I think that is coming. I think some of the people will just tire of dragging around the society, which is essentially dependent on welfare, and could provide for themselves very, very well. They could do very well for themselves. We have great opportunities for education, and our infrastructure is fantastic. So I think she may be right.
569-1080 is the number. 569-1080. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. We're on KOAN, KVNT, time 6:29.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Anchorage police were investigating the stabbings of twin brothers on a bike trail near 88th Avenue and Old Seward Highway late Friday. They say Joshua and Justin Tolivar, who are 22 years old, were treated for injuries after the altercation with a group of teenagers. As of Sunday night, Justin remained in critical condition. A state task force has been formed to examine the state's handling of allegations involving abuse and neglect of the elderly. A national courts group encouraged every state to form its own task force to find ways to protect the elderly. The Alaska National Guard has advertised the position of Adjutant General. The job became open after Thomas Cactus resigned under pressure following a scathing report about an alleged culture of fraud and sexual assault within the Alaska National Guard. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Sunshine and clouds. You'll see some showers for today, high 60. Tonight, cloudy with spotty showers, low 47. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a brief shower or two, high 59. Tuesday night, low 48. Wednesday, clouds and sunshine, high 58. And cloudy on Thursday, high 59. Friday, high 59. Hot talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza, 333-8000.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesak.com.
Find movie showtimes for Anchorage and the Valley at moviesak.com. Check out trailers and reviews updated daily. Moviesak.com, your local location on the web to find out everything you need to know before you go out. Register for free movie tickets that are given away every week and the grand prize of movie tickets for life.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
It was a moment.
It was a moment that changed my life.
We looked down from the chopper and saw the whole area was flooded.
At that moment, it really hit me. This is why I joined the Guard.
People had gone up to the rooftops to escape the rising waters.
Talk about intense moments. We had to lower the guys on line some 30 feet down.
This is where teamwork and training really paid off.
It took steady nerves and steady hands for the chopper pilots to hover like that.
No question, Guard pilots are the best in the world.
I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life.
What could be better than serving the people of my hometown?
In the National Guard, you serve your community as well as your country while you work or attend college. In return, you gain skills in which you can build a career and receive benefits that can help you pay for college. Learn more about what it means to be a citizen soldier at nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Alaska National Guard, aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this station.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
What if buying your next car could actually be enjoyable? At Payless Car Sales, we believe it should be. If you're in the market for your next car, come by and meet our knowledgeable staff and explore our selection of quality vehicles. We offer military discounts, and we give all of our customers Carfax history reports. We can also provide warranties and handle all of your lending needs. Just like driving your car should be enjoyable, so should buying it. Visit us downtown at 919 East 5th Avenue or on our website at paylesssales.com. Payless Car Sales, where Alaskans drive.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
It's such a great conversation off the air. I hate to go back to talking about our stuff. I'd like to go in there.
That's okay.
6:35 is the time. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Without getting into specifics, I can hear
How could
Brian.
you not?
What? Need specifics.
You know, Brian did leave the mics on the other day.
I know.
During a
I
point
know.
in the show.
I know. He's sneaking up on us.
That was hilarious.
Well, what happened? What
we
was
were
said?
when Dan was getting down on his knees begging you.
begging you to see my point.
Nah, he wasn't actually asking me for my hand.
I pulled a hammy, by the way, when I did that. I'm not kidding.
Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. No, I did. I was so. I watched that show 3 times this weekend. The intense parts where I was speaking and no one was hearing anything I could say.
Well, that's because you weren't making any sense.
Well, obviously. But then you guys eventually got my point at the end of the show.
That's because you finally made sense.
Oh, my goodness.
And then I went home and stewed on it.
But I was saying the same thing the whole time. Oh, you still disagree?
In some parts, yeah.
Oh, it was very frustrating for me Friday. And for those who don't know, at one point during the break, I walked around to Glen's side of the table, and I literally got down on my knees like I was proposing to him, asking him to see my point.
Not uncomfortable at all, though. Not at all.
Just so the listener knows, we really believe what we say here. This is not a show. This is not an act. We are all very passionate about our beliefs.
Yes.
Which is good.
And I'm forming them. I noticed that I am actively sitting here forming beliefs.
569-1080, 569-1080. It is. And we were talking during the break about family and relationships with family and their work. You know, it's not the thing about family relationships. I think is important to realize is that they don't just happen, especially when you become adults, because you go your separate ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have different lives and you have different people in your lives, and it's hard to, unless you make it a priority to maintain a relationship with your immediate family, I guess, the siblings you grew up with, your parents, then it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. That's just my main thought. And I do believe there is something, and I know, Bonnie, you have a good relationship with your parents. I don't know about you, Glenn, but I know honoring your father and mother is such a big part of life. That's not, I think God tells us, when God tells us to do something, it's always for our benefit. And I really do think it's a big part of life, honoring your parents and maintaining a relationship with them. It's easy for me because, of course, everybody, I guess, says this, but I have just amazing parents. My dad, who since passed away, and my mother. And, my mother and I don't know how many times, we maybe talk 2-3 times a week. And she's just an amazing person, and I enjoy talking with her. There's nothing I'd rather do than go out to dinner with my mom. She's just so much fun. She's got this great outlook on life. She's cheerful all the time. She laughs all the time. She's a very easy laugh. And it's just fun to be around her. So I suppose, I know that I've met people who have had parents who are, they're not the most pleasant people in the world. So I suppose there's that. And I used to listen to Dr. Laura. You used to listen to Dr. Laura?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very big on this, and I do agree with this, that sometimes you get rotten family members. They're rotten people. They don't care about anybody but themselves. They're bitter. They drag everybody around them down. And her main point is you are under no obligation to have intimate relationships with them if they're rotten people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Them or anyone else.
Anyone in life who drags you down, is negative, hypercritical of you. Life's hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
Letting someone in your private circle, your inner circle, who's critical of you, you don't need that. So it's there's an effort has to be made. Some people aren't lucky in their family, and you can't beat yourself up over that. If you got siblings or parents that are just jerks and self-centered and really don't care about you, then I think it's important to realize that and say, well, I'll do the best I can, but I'm not gonna kill myself trying to reach out to people, because we only have so much time in the day.
Well, and you can only do something yourself. You can't force somebody to do something.
Right.
And feel a certain way.
Yes.
I of course I come from a big family.
Yes.
And
your immediate family and your current family.
Yeah. Well, I was one of 9, 5th out of 9, the middle child. And I always just look up to everybody in my family. Even, and the kinds of disagreements we would have would be sort of political, so we could all sort of agree, and religious, I suppose. We could all agree to just leave all that stuff at the door. But I feel a little bit bad that I don't maintain family relationships. We do stuff together,
With your
holidays
siblings?
and stuff like that, and probably 3-4 times a year. I try to get to see my parents a couple times a year. They come into town a few times. Christina's parents, up to Fairbanks. But I don't know. I guess I don't go into it with any expectation because I know everybody's so busy. We're so busy, and sometimes, like my wife and I are really private kind of people, which probably seems odd since I'm on the radio.
Yeah.
But this is a job too. It's not just, this isn't necessarily how I wanted to live my life. This is just how it turned out. So I really honestly do not spend any time at all thinking any bad thoughts about, gee, I wish they would have done this 10 years ago. I don't know how people have that kind of time. I don't know how people have the kind of memories either. So I kind of just look up to all my siblings. I see all the best in them, and I just think they're great
You're not
people.
a record keeper, are you? You don't hold grudges or hold charges against people in their head.
Well, I wonder whether or not God has gifted me with something or he's cursed me with something, because my memory is, I got into a really bad accident when I was 20. And I had a fantastic memory, almost a photographic memory before that, and after that, it really diminished dramatically. I wonder whether it's like Alzheimer's or something like that.
Wow.
I mean, it's not Alzheimer's, but I wonder whether it's kind of the same
Like
symptoms.
affecting that kind of part of your brain.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, I don't really know. I still feel like I can think well, but I can't remember people's names for the life of me. I've forgotten Bonnie's name several times, trying to tell people who's on the show.
Is this Bonnie over here?
Yeah, this is Bonnie over here. Now, it's that bad. I'm talking about people who I've worked with for 15 years. I literally cannot remember their name, and it doesn't. If I don't say somebody's name once a day for like 3-4 weeks, and then once a week, every week after that, I will not remember their name. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what part of your brain, gives that to you. But I don't know whether I've been cursed with it or blessed with it. I can't remember bad things.
So you don't remember when people wronged you?
Generally not. First of all, I don't spend any time thinking about it at all. I really don't care. If people have a problem with me, that's okay. I try not to have a problem with anybody.
Not me. I internalize everything.
Do you?
Is that a woman thing, or?
I don't know. Maybe it's a youngest child thing. I don't know. It could be. I'm the baby of the family, so it could be.
I'm not the baby of the family.
It's not that I don't. I can forget and forgive and forget.
And by the way, now that you bring up the baby of the family, I was always bothered by the baby of the family. No, I'm not.
Uh-oh. We're going to start a family feud here.
Yeah. Everybody has a problem because the baby of the family gets totally new rules because the parents have given up by that. All pretense of
My parents were tired by then.
569-1080, 569-1080. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, 644.
And 80 KOAN.
When Alaska hunters get their moose or caribou, deer or sheep, they face a number of choices. The smart ones bring their meat to Herb Eckman at Alaska Sausage.
We have been processing game for Alaskans since 1963. I am very proud of the products we make.
Alaska Sausage makes wonderful breakfast sausage, Polish sausage, summer sausage, and the old favorites, moose-a-roni and wieners, plus their famous hunter sticks, pepper sticks, or teriyaki sticks.
And each month we have some great specials like our classic pastrami. Our specials are always very popular. And a superior product starts with superior meat. That's why Alaska Sausage only accepts good, clean game meat that has been well cared for before it gets to us.
You know, there's a lot of hard work involved in bringing back your moose or caribou or sheep, a lot of hard work. So it only makes sense to take it where you'll get the best sausage and meat. Alaska Sausage near the corner of Arctic and Benson. And our Valley customers can drop their clean boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up and complete your order.
Just tell them Herb sent you.
Napa know-how!
There are better ways to let people know you've arrived than with those squealing brakes. That's why Napa has Proformer brake pads for as low as $10.99. Just $10.99 to get back to what you're really known for. 80s hair metal and a killer horn. Conquer the job with Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 9/30/14.
Being a business owner isn't easy. There's managing people, customers, income, expenses, unexpected issues, growing your brand, and so much more. Ready to be more efficient in everything you do? Then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
Hot Talk, KOAN, man.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
U.S. Senate.
Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m.
on the Talk of the Valley.
$6:47. Happy to welcome a new sponsor to the show, but he's really not a new sponsor. He's my second sponsor ever. My good friend Keith Montauk over at Specialty Truck and Auto. You may have heard his name. He's very active in the community. He puts on the combat fishing tournament every year. He's dedicated his life to helping veterans in our town, in our state. But what really you need to know is that he is a mechanic you can trust. Keith Montauk, Specialty Truck and Auto. He's worked on my car many, many times. Always does a great job. Just a great all-around guy. He'll be on the show this week. He's going to visit with us.
Nice.
Keith Montauk, Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637. 349-1637 is the number. He's located right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon off of Abbott. Give him a call, set up an appointment. He's one of these guys that gets into work at 5:30 and leaves at 6 every day. And his customers are thrilled that he does because everybody wants a mechanic you can trust, and that's Keith Montauk. Again, 349-1637, right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon, right off of Abbott there. 569-1080. That's just so sad that I don't understand people who watch TV. And Bonnie was just telling us about somebody who watches TV 12 hours a day. I just can't, I think to do that, you would have to totally misunderstand and underappreciate the beauty of life and what a gift life is. Life is so precious. And as I get older, I realize I'm running out of time. I'm 54. I've got, who knows, hopefully
50 years.
Well, hopefully another 25, maybe 30 if I take care of myself, which is what I'm trying to do now. And it's just such a wonderful, marvelous gift.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Before we got rid of our TV, we were watching it, and I had, I'd have the DVR recording things, and this was quite a few years ago.
What was your favorite thing, by the way? What could you not miss?
I don't know. I guess reality TV kind of got me sucked in for a while.
Like which reality?
I don't want to say.
Oh, well, give us one that it wasn't that you would watch occasionally.
Say. Come on, we're all open books here.
Yeah.
It might have been The Bachelorette.
Oh, The Bachelorette. Okay. All right. So the pretense of The Bachelorette is here's this hot chick and here's all these hot dudes, and then they want to marry her, and so they've arranged for them to have like intimate settings.
It was stupid.
Okay, all right. Well, am I right though?
Well, that's the first one that comes to mind. There was probably other things, but I got the DVR so that I would stop telling my kids, "Shh, be quiet. I want to see this."
Oh.
Because that was also damaging. So I thought, well, I'll get the DVR and I'll watch it after they go to bed.
Is more important than your kids.
Exactly.
Which is a bit
when
of
I
a
say,
problem.
"Shh, be quiet. I want to see this," it's like, why? What?
Yeah,
that was
what is this?
ridiculous.
What about you though?
So I got the DVR so that I could put the kids to bed and then have my me time or whatever, and I'd sit and watch TV. Well, then I started saying, this is ridiculous. I'm staying up late watching TV, and then I'm grumpy the next day with my kids. So I didn't want to be somebody who looked back.
How much were you watching a day?
Oh, I don't know, 2 hours maybe. Well, it wasn't, a lot, but I never want to look back and say, wow, I wish I would have watched more TV. I'm not going to look back and say, I wish I would have watched more TV.
Yeah. If only I could have seen more Bachelorette
Exactly.
episodes.
So it was, I know that I'll look back and say, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids. And so we got rid of it.
Now, you don't have, you have a TV, but you guys never watch it.
No, we never watch television. We'll watch movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can choose
I have a feel. I cannot imagine somebody watching TV and not being changed by it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know how you'd be changed in good ways. Because, like, if you watch these television shows, what you always look forward to is the gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Not the nice little things that really fill life.
Yeah, you're not going to spend 12 hours watching the Hallmark Channel. Or
exactly, yes, that's it. Like, when we watch TV, we got the Little House on the Prairie.
Right.
And our kids would watch that because those are filled with normal, everyday interactions.
Healthy.
Yeah.
And they always have a good, healthy outcome.
I got into a phase for a little while when I was living in Redding, California. I had a talk show. I didn't really know anybody in town. So I didn't have much of a social life. And I got Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a couple episodes of Breaking Bad. Have you heard of this show?
Mm-mm.
Hugely popular show, yeah. A lot of people have tried to get me to watch it. I still haven't had a chance.
For about 2 weeks, that's all I did. I came home and would watch 4 episodes a night.
Yeah.
It was so addictive.
Oh.
Wow.
And it was so well written and so well done. No virtue in it.
Really? None at all?
None.
Wow.
Totally played to your dark side. I couldn't turn it off because they were so brilliant in the way that they would set up each episode. Where you were watching because you wanted to know what's happening next. I remember the first Batman movie ever, Michael Keaton. Horrid movie. Embarrassingly bad. But I remember until they brought me to the Batcave, I was enthralled because I wanted to see the Batcave. Because I grew up watching Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Batman. And so but then once I saw the Batcave, I was like, why am I sitting here? This movie's so stupid. But this had that, I can't wait to see blank.
Mm-hmm.
Then whoever it was that produced that show or directed it, he just had this way, and it was very brilliantly written. But I remember I was so mad at myself because I'm watching 4 hours of TV a day and I'm not getting out and playing golf. I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting there watching this thing because I have to know what's going to happen next. And it literally took me like 2 weeks. Have you seen it, Brian? You see the whole thing?
Yeah, I did like you. I started binge watching from the beginning.
It's binge watching. I love that. Am I right? You can't turn this thing off.
Yeah, it's good. I watched it. I caught up with it and then watched the last season.
I mean, I don't know what it is, but you just can't turn it off. And I am not a TV watcher. I have not watched more than an hour of television since then, probably, minus football. And I mean, I'm telling you, but I remember thinking to myself, what a waste, what a waste, what a waste.
It's good entertainment.
It was great.
Yeah, there's a few shows out there like that.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's a new thing now, binge watching.
Yep.
That's what they call it, where you watch episode after episode of...
Yeah, Netflix almost invented the word because you go
right?
on there and you can watch 4 seasons of something and catch
It's only like $10 a month or something, right?
Yeah, I get it for $7.99.
Yeah.
I think they said that around 15% of all people who watch a show watch it straight through as soon as it comes out on,
What percent?
About 15%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we're going to... I don't know if we're going to need dish or cable anymore because when... I got a where I live now or high def GCI, and so I'm thinking, how am I going to ever make it through football season? Well, you get, NBC, CBS, and Fox with my antenna, high def, and that's about 40% of all the games, and then everything else is on ESPN, which I get on my computer, which I can watch all the ESPN. So I remember we were going to do a thing with Glenn where I was going to piggyback off of his satellite dish, but.
Oh.
Well, no, it was
I
legal.
don't have a satellite dish.
No, it was legal. I was going to pay for it. Yeah,
it was actually going to be his satellite dish.
And then I was going to get the computer.
It was all very complicated.
And what I'm doing now is my mother, who has cable, and she has these sports channels. If I log in under her name, I can watch them on my computer. So I get all the college games, and I don't have cable or dish.
Wow.
And I'll never get them again because that's all I watch is sports. And when it comes to Fox, I just watch everything online.
It became frustrating for me because then you ran into data issues. Well, I did anyway. When I got back up to Alaska, when I was in the lower 48, I said to him when I was setting up my cable, well, what's my data usage every month? What's my max? And they were like, what are you talking about? Yeah. They had no idea because they don't have maximums there.
Right.
And so when I got back up here, it was very limiting.
But that would be if you took it offline. Online.
No, if you download a movie, it's 2-3 gigabytes or whatever,
right,
and they have a maximum here of like 60.
Like I couldn't go through Netflix and watch the whole season.
Well, the worst scenario I've ever heard is a friend of mine, his kids and wife blew through his in a day and a half.
Ooh.
There was like no.
I can top that.
No limits whatsoever. I had 3 or 4 people because they had this super fast, the fastest around, at the time, and there were 3 people all watching high def video all simultaneously for a day and a half straight. They were so excited because they got this new internet service.
You know those little things you used to plug in the side of your laptop and you get internet through them?
Yeah.
And I think it was ACS. I got an email after 3 days where I owed like $280.
Whoa.
Because I have MLB.com.
And
I watch Pirate games every day. And that within 3 days I had run up that many overage charges.
Wow.
You can sit and watch sports that long?
Well, actually, I would just kind of have it on in the background.
Oh.
I would watch it during my show.
Yuck.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd have it on in the background.
I don't understand this.
Brutal.
Yeah. 569-1080. 569-1080. That's the number in Anchorage. Love to hear from you. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. We're broadcasting to you on KOAN 95.1 FM in Anchorage. That's what we recommend. That's the strongest signal. 1080 AM in Anchorage. 92.5 FM in the Valley. We also get that in Anchorage. And then 1020 AM in the Valley. 658.
In the name of Blackbeard's Ghost is going on here?
Yar, it's the 2014 Pirate Pub Crawl in downtown Anchorage, Captain, on Saturday, September 20th.
Shiver me timbers, we'll need to batten down the hatches and set our course to help raise money for the Blood Bank of Alaska's treasure chest, else we'll be sent to Davy Jones' locker.
Aye, navigate your way to Town Square at 7 p.m. for a group photo with your crew. Make way anytime after 7 p.m. to the participating pubs in downtown Anchorage with your treasure map to win 80,000 air miles and more.
When in doubt, jibe ho to anchoragedowntown.org for more details and discounts on hotel stay, costumes, and parking at Easy Park lots for the night.
Yo ho, me hearties.
We best be seeing your scallywags at the Pirate Pub Crawl on September 20th.
Brought to you by the Anchorage Downtown Pirate Ship, K&H Graphics, the Blood Bank of Alaska, the Odom Corporation, Dooley's Tuxedos and Rentals, and Alaska Integrated Media.
You're listening to Hot Talk, KOAN, Anchorage, AM 1080, and retranslated on 95.1 FM on K236CG, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Iran says no. It will not play a role in the international coalition to battle ISIS militants in Iraq and Syria. The U.S. says it would not have coordinated with the Iranian military anyway. Now, Iran was not part of an international conference in Paris today. Fox News Radio, Simon Owen, live in our European bureau.
Dave, France had suggested involving Iran in the talks, but French officials say a number of Arab countries blocked the move. Despite that, some 30 countries did attend, including the US and European nations, but also a number of regional actors, including Saudi Arabia and Qatar, as the US tries to build a broad coalition to confront ISIS. Following the talks, all the countries in attendance agreed to back military measures to confront the terror group, including supplying the Iraqi government with some form of military assistance, Dave.
Simon, some Americans have turned their backs on the U.S. and joined ISIS. Others have also radicalized, a problem the government is addressing. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live at the White House.
The Justice Department is launching a series of new programs aimed at combating American extremists leaving the U.S. to join the fight in Syria and Iraq.
We have engaged in extensive outreach to communities here in the United States so we can work with them to identify threats before they emerge.
These pilot programs, Attorney General Eric Holder says, will involve religious leaders, prosecutors, and community groups. At least 2 Americans have been killed fighting alongside ISIS in Syria. A 19-year-old Colorado woman has pleaded guilty to trying to help the group, Dave.
Jared, 2 wildfires have chased hundreds of people from their homes in California. This man seeing the smoke engulf one neighborhood in Oakhurst.
You know, it's sad because that's where we grew up.
There's not much containment on either fire. Do you play Minecraft? Microsoft is about to. The company's planning to buy the maker of Xbox's most popular game for $2.5 billion. Minecraft Virtual World is also the top-paid app on iPhones and Android-based devices. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This week answering seemingly impossible.
And for 4 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. To learn more, call 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal licensing lender. Licensed law 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Gear up for fall and haul in the savings. Choose 0% 60-month financing or big cash off select John Deere tractors. From the 1 family to 150 horsepower utility tractors. Plus, get $1,500 off new 1 family tractors when you buy 2 implements. Offer ends October 31st, 2014, subject to approved credit on John Deere financial installment plan. Some restrictions apply. See your participating dealer for details.
Visit your local John Deere dealer today to take advantage of special savings going on now. Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza, 333-8000.
Is your IT department burdened with first-line support calls about printer jams and broken printers? Are individual departments purchasing expensive printer cartridges that get buried in office supply budgets? Is your printer support strategy really a printer replacement plan? Let Alaska Enterprise Solutions show you how to reduce those high print costs. AES is a Xerox professional agency in Alaska with Xerox's worldwide support behind them. You can reach us at aesalaska.com or 561-5100.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
When Malarkey Mark Begich ran for U.S. Senator, he made a lot of claims about his record as Anchorage mayor. Begich knew the truth wouldn't come to light before the election. But now, history is caught up with Malarkey Mark. Under Begich, Anchorage taxes went up 27%. Under Begich, the city budget ballooned, a $142 million increase in spending. Under Begich, the city was saddled with unprecedented 5-year union contracts. Under Begich, a deficit of over $20 million was left for the next mayor to deal with. Begich left Anchorage in serious trouble. Alaska's Energy, America's Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN. Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley.
6 minutes past 7 o'clock. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie on a Monday, September 15, 2014. Our number, we'd love to hear from you, 569-1080, 569-1080. Anything that's on your mind or heart, we'd love to hear from you and talk to you about it, 569-1080. So, Brian, you know a little something about this shooting that, 5 people shot this weekend?
Well, I did hear about it, and I just had a couple of questions about it.
And this is out in front of the Kodiak Bar?
Yeah, right downtown.
Yep.
Right by the FBI building.
Right.
As a matter of fact, across the street almost.
Not probably the safest place on a Friday night.
Yeah, probably outside of any bar at closing, not safe.
Yeah.
Way I'd look at it. But, the downtown bars have these reputations, and one thing I don't understand is how they're promoting people to come after closing, after 3 a.m., to come down and join the party and dance. And
how do they promote that?
I've seen it on Facebook quite a bit, mostly.
Come on down.
Yeah, hey, we're having, dance music, and this DJ is going to be here. And
how late can they stay open?
I don't even know. I mean, that shooting was at 4:30.
I think 5 is that's the cool down period, right? From 2:30 to 5?
Yeah, I don't know.
And the idea is that you don't want everybody emptying out of the bar at the same time when everybody's drunk.
Right. But that happens anyway. I work at Chilkoot Charlie's, and
yeah.
At the end of the night, everybody's out in the parking lot. I'm running through with my DJ gear trying to get in my truck and get out of there.
Yeah.
You have to run?
Well, I sometimes go as fast as I can without looking at anybody.
Well, he's got to leave certain things in the car, go back and get something else, go back to the car. And
Wow.
That's a dangerous situation because you got to do it fast. Otherwise, they'll be like timing you to see whether or not they.
Well, I'm also
stuff.
walking with a couple $1,000s worth of DJ gear.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have said that. Probably.
Wow.
in New Orleans, the bars close Christmas and Easter. That's it.
So they're just open all the time.
You can drink. You can start drinking on a Sunday morning. Drink till the next Sunday morning.
So is that what's needed here? I mean, it's pretty clear that this idea that we have a cool down period is not working. It's not a good thing.
Well, how do we know that?
Because 6 people got shot and 1 was critically injured.
Yeah, but that could have happened without a cool down period.
It happens all the time, though, it seems like. There's lots of bar shootings.
I don't know. I got some difficult questions here for people, by the way. Did guns make people safer in this situation?
Guns by whom?
If Bonnie was there packing, everybody been.
Yeah,
No.
Guns held by whom?
Well, these are legal gun owners, I take it. They're not illegal gun owners, but this is the difficulty that I have with people who start with the idea that most people are upstanding citizens and that those are the people with guns.
So what do you say?
What makes you think that was a legal gun owner?
Yeah, the shooters are at large still. So
yeah, I mean they're not legal gun owners anymore, probably, or after they get charged with felonies.
I would
for shooting
imagine
other people.
They have criminal histories.
Yeah, they don't sound responsible.
You think that they're illegally carrying?
Well, if they're felons, they can't.
You're right, but my guess is they're not felons. Most of the time,
I would
even if you
imagine
get charged with felonies, they're pled down to misdemeanors. 98% of all charges are pled.
One of my real heartaches with the media is they never give the criminal history of the person.
Yeah.
But I would
terrible.
imagine they all have long priors.
Well, this is the difficulty
I would imagine
have.
This person was not carrying a weapon with the intent to defend themselves and themselves only.
I agree with that. I
I do
agree with
too.
that. The foundational idea that guns make us safer is the idea that everybody respects life and the life of other people, and that they don't want to lose their life, and so that when deadly force is used, that we can all expect that it's going to be used for the right reason, and that's just not the case.
No,
These
I don't
people are
think so.
absolute
So what's your
bringers
point?
of mayhem.
So what's your point?
That that Chicago is going to be Chicago, whether they had gun laws and gun restrictions or not. I don't think that there's one part of the ideas that guns make people safer that I just don't think it's the case. There, when you have a level of mayhem and a disrespect for life that goes on like you have in Chicago and their gang culture, there's no solving that. Guns don't solve it. Taking away guns don't solve it. That the violence,
So your point is
the
what?
violent nature. Just a comment. I'm not trying to give a grand public
So you're
policy
saying-
discussion. I'm just saying that once you have a broken culture and a gang culture, taking guns away doesn't save it. Giving people guns doesn't save it.
I disagree with the
I
second part.
totally disagree with the
Okay,
second
well,
part.
lay it on me. So all the people in Chicago have guns, and many of the law-abiding citizens have illegal guns in their house too.
In their house.
Yeah,
Sure.
Chicago has some of the strictest gun.
But people ignore them.
No.
Only the criminals.
Oh no. There are a lot of people. Who have illegal guns in Chicago.
I guarantee you, if a criminal knew that somebody might be packing a gun and could defend themselves, they would not. There would not be as much.
Of course
gun
they
violence.
wouldn't, but
Gun violence,
normal
people
people are
violence.
not on streets, which is where most violence occurs.
So you're saying
drive-by
most
shootings and all kinds of stuff.
law-abiding citizens in Chicago ignore the gun laws
Yes.
and pack heat?
Yeah, and same thing in L.A. is my
All right,
understanding
let
as
me
well.
make sure. So you're saying most law-abiding citizens in Chicago illegally carry a gun?
Not carry a gun, have a gun in their house.
Okay, but
in their
that-
apartment.
Well, what matters is when you're on the street.
Oh, okay. Well, I have no idea. My guess is they don't carry it while they're on the
But
street.
would they be safer if they did?
I don't. You wouldn't be safe no matter what because they don't respect life there.
Yeah, but if
Nothing
you
will
had,
keep you safe in Chicago.
if there's someone coming after you with a gun and you have a gun, does that make you safer?
Normally, it's not somebody coming after you with a gun. Normally, it's somebody who is just shooting randomly people who are standing on
Okay,
the
but
side of
if
the
you
road.
have a
and
gun,
nothing's going to make you safer.
Are you safer?
I don't think it'd make any difference. My guess is that having a gun
Are you listening?
will
Yes, I
will
am. I'm
not
very upset.
will not change the outcome because the random drive-by shootings and the gang violence that occurs.
But if
it's
you're
not like
armed, aren't you better prepared to defend yourself?
and I think in general, it's not going to change the outcome either for you
general?
or for anybody else. Yeah, because
Even having a gun
when
to
you have
protect
gang
yourself?
violence, it's just random. People are just
But
randomly
if you
violent.
have a gun, aren't you better prepared?
We
to
don't
protect
have
yourself?
random people driving by. I mean, not as much as Chicago, even per capita.
Right, but we don't have the level of gangs here
But
either.
we do have people who carry concealed and open here.
Yeah, it didn't solve this problem.
Well, it's
There might have
situational.
been people carrying concealed here. I mean, why wouldn't they?
I mean, they were at a bar. Like if
I
you
think
were in
we'd have a
South
lot
Anchorage
more.
at a party.
I think we'd
you'd
have a lot more
what?
gang, drive-by shootings.
You don't think with law-abiding citizens better
Why
armed?
do you think that we have full concealed carry here in the state of Alaska? 6 people got shot, 1 got critically
but
injured.
we don't
why
have that
didn't
happening all the
why didn't
time.
our rampant gun culture here solve this problem?
Those people were not carrying legally. I can almost guarantee it. As someone who's covered thousands of court cases, I can promise you they were not allowed to have a gun. Now, I may be wrong about that. So to say that, but this, I don't really understand this position you're taking at all. A, you're not better off when someone disregards life and they're armed and you're not. You're not better off being armed. That's your first point.
Well, yeah, my main point is there's no real solution here. When you have gangs, when you have people who are violent, arming, not arming, it's always better to have your own gun when you are a law-abiding citizen. Yeah, but
you just said
guns. Here's my problem with the gun people. Here's my problem with the NRA. Guns didn't solve this problem. Legally carrying concealed weapons didn't solve this problem.
They
Having
weren't
a whole bunch
legally
of
carrying concealed weapons.
regular people can conceal carry anytime they want.
The victims probably weren't, though.
Legally carrying concealed weapons didn't solve this problem. That's my point, is that adding guns into a gun culture situation doesn't solve
714.
anything.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
This is Herb Ekman with Alaska Sausage. I have some news for you hunters. Our specials this year include our famous bratwurst, pastrami, Polish hot dog. Our specials are always very popular, and I believe you're really going to love these. We have been processing game meat for Alaskan hunters for over 45 years. We know a superior product starts with superior meat, and that's why we only accept clean game meat that's been well cared for before it gets to us. Our traditional old-world recipes turn your carefully prepared meat into superior products. You will be happy to serve your family and friends.
Alaska Sausage, 2914 Arctic Boulevard. And for our Valley customers, there's no need to bring your game all the way to Anchorage. Now you can simply drop your clean, boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods in Wasilla, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up, complete your order, and bring it back to you.
Just tell them Herb sent you.
This is Dr. Ellenberg. Are you tired of taking medications? Do your medications create more side effects than solutions? Do you want more than 15 minutes with your doctor? If you answer yes to those questions, you should consider calling the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine. At our center, we take the time to listen and focus on finding the cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
Hey, if you think all you need to know about beer is how to pop the top off the can, go to worldclassbeer.com. There's a whole world of beer out there, and worldclassbeer.com can help you navigate it. Learn the difference between an ale and a lager at Beer U. Get descriptions of all the craft beers and learn why they're so different. And when you see one you'd like to try, the Beer Spy Locator can direct you to the closest store. Worldclassbeer.com, designed to help you get closer to your beer. Brought to you by the Odom Corporation. Always drink responsibly.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 118 or visit us at akcopy.net. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
So, get it. Are you throwing the clock here?
It's common sense. I don't understand. Glenn has a lot of common sense.
7:17. Glen Biegel, Dan Fagan, Bonnie Cameron. Glen's basic your point is that we're talking about the shooting this weekend in Anchorage, 5 people shot. That it really, even if you are carrying a gun, and I think I understand what you're saying in that, the pro-gun folks, the pro-gun rights folks say, if everybody carries a gun, would be no crime. That's kind of their position.
Yep.
And you're saying, well, no, not really. Even if you have a gun, when you have gang members who literally have zero regard for human life, there's not much you can stop that when as far as violence goes.
You really don't change outcomes when there is a dramatic disrespect for life.
Do you think they care about their own lives?
I don't think they care about their own lives. I don't think they care about your lives. I don't think they care about their girlfriend's lives. I don't think they care about anything. They literally do not care about anything. And, dying, living, dying, killing, whatever. It's just part of, this game, this warfare that they place themselves into. And that essentially the argument people make that, well, let's add guns onto the legal side, which I think there are already a lot of illegal guns in Chicago, but I don't think it changes outcomes. I really don't.
I do. I mean, I think because we have a pretty bad gang problem here in Anchorage.
I don't think we would know what a bad gang problem is, and Dan can back me up on this.
Well, not to the degree of New Orleans.
Not even
Vegas.
close.
No, but
it's
for
not
Alaska,
even remotely close.
For Alaska, we do,
It's
and
not
I
the
think
same
that it
as
would be
Phoenix.
worse if we
same
didn't have
as anywhere.
people carrying guns.
Well, what they would feel like is they could go into people's houses. They don't feel comfortable going into large sections of
But even
the
on
city
the street, it's not like that
'cause
thing
they're
happens
confronted.
every day. That kind of shooting happens every day.
You're talking
here.
about the shooting this weekend.
Right.
We for a while we were the murder capital of the world, of the country, not of the world. The Anchorage during a spat of murders that went on during the Begich administration. We're the murder capital of the country.
You mean per capita?
Right.
If someone buys a strawberry ice cream cone, we become the strawberry ice cream cone of the cap. I did a story on that once on Channel 2. Like one person does it in Alaska, we become the world's number one.
Well, there were
we have
13 in a quarter. 13 murders in 1 quarter. In 3 months, there were 13 people who were murdered.
Right.
Now, let's just be thankful that none of these 5 or 6 people who were shot were dead.
But back to the point at hand here.
Yeah.
So, Bonnie, you take issue with this scenario that it's not going to change the outcome.
Yeah, because I feel like you're swaying people to the, we should just not have any guns
No,
side.
I'm not saying that at all. Literally what I'm saying is guns do not save a society once you have a complete disrespect for life.
But
the foundation of our culture was the Christian idea that people's lives are valuable and that you're allowed to defend your life with deadly force.
But
once you start with the foundation that's gang related, which is lives are not valuable, territory is valuable, and whatever you have to do in order to get that territory, that's what's called for. Well, then you end up with no good outcomes. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with your point about the lack of care for life. But that doesn't mean you say, well, guns just didn't help in this situation, and so
let's
you
break it
shouldn't have
down
one.
to the average individual. Is it basically true? Most times, not every time, but most times, if these don't care about life gang members start to open fire, you as an individual will be much better off most times if you have some means of protecting yourself in the way of a gun.
I think it's always good for you to have a gun and to know when to use it, and I think a lot of times people don't know when to use it, and so they may escalate something that the problem is you don't know how disrespectful for life the other person is. So it's very difficult for people to tell when deadly force is going to be called for.
That was a very general statement, saying the majority of people don't know.
Most times.
It's always good for a law-abiding citizen to have a gun who knows how to use it and has good judgment.
So most times,
that's what's always good.
Most times, when gang members who have no regard for life begin to act in a violent manner, most times, it's going to be good for you as a law-abiding citizen to have a gun to defend yourself.
And most of the time, they're not after you. If you involve yourself in a gun shootout with gang members, I would say that most times that's going to be a bad thing for you to do. Most times you should just get away.
So it's better to not have a gun.
Most of the times it's always good to have a gun. If you're a law-abiding citizen and have good judgment, it's almost always a bad idea to get involved in a shootout with gang members who are probably going to be better armed than you. That'd be my guess.
Okay, so most times when a gang member acts in a violent way, you're better off to have a gun but not use it.
Yeah.
That's your
have a gun, get out of there.
But it is good to have the gun.
If you need to defend yourself and you're, the scenario where you are faced with somebody and it's you versus them and you know that they're going to come after you and then you don't have a gun, you wish you did have a gun, always better to have a gun there. What generally happens in gang violence, people have an Uzi, they drive by a crowd of people and start firing into the crowd. That's gang violence. In Chicago, I think I had like 13 murders across the weekend, a couple of weekends ago. These are not the scenario where, you are involved in this one gang member and it's sort of a calm and rational situation. Most of the time, it's just madness and mayhem. I mean, they're not going to put themselves into a situation where the average person is going to be able to respond. Now, where I can say it's always good to have a gun. It's always good to have a gun in your house. It's always good to have a plan on how you're going to use it. It's always good for as many people to know how to use it when you can. Those are good situations.
But I think
we've seen a lot of good outcomes.
But I think you've also said it's always good to have a gun. Always. What you're saying is it's not always good to use it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
That's right.
Okay. Because that's different than your original.
My difficulty with the gun people is guns don't solve anything.
Are you not a gun people?
When you get in, no. Well, here's where they left me. They started saying, well, we're going to carry our semi-automatic rifles into as many places as we can.
That's for public awareness.
But that's shoving it in people's face.
I don't agree.
And frankly, I don't. Again, that's not dealing with a root problem. A root problem is people's disrespect for life. A root problem is there are no fathers in the home. You want to talk about something that's actually going to solve something? I could care less whether or not people are out carrying guns, semi-automatic weapon rifles in people's stores.
But that
doesn't solve anything. Okay, what solves things is figuring out how to get rid of welfare so we get dads back in their home.
Sure, I agree with that.
That's what solves stuff. And people take the automatic position that if we take a messy situation and we add guns to it from law-abiding citizens, that the outcome is going to be better. I don't think it is always going to be better. I think it'll probably be about the same. That's my guess.
It really does get public awareness out there, though, because if you watch a lot of those videos on YouTube of people getting out there with the semi-automatics or, the AK, whatever, they are even letting the law enforcement people, sometimes they school them. And they're like, I'm allowed to do this. And, oh, well, we didn't think you were. And it's really interesting to watch some of those videos.
I like that.
They're just getting the awareness out there.
Yeah, you're talking about educating people about what their gun rights are.
Right.
And I don't mind it for that situation.
Now, you would admit, Glenn, that in a situation like the Virginia Tech shooting or the Columbine incident, where you have a guy who's armed and wanting to kill as many people as he can and no one around him is armed, to have one person who is armed in that scenario is a major plus.
Yeah. And the idea that we're going to create these zones of unprotection, which is really what they create in schools.
Gun-free zones.
Gun-free zones.
Where all the mass shootings happen.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, yeah. The one in Colorado, the theater there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where the guy went in, there was a gun-free zone inside the theater. He got 3 or 4 or 5 guns in there and just started wiping people out.
I don't know why there hasn't been a lawsuit. Anytime anyone was shot in a gun-free zone, I don't know why we haven't someone in there who hasn't sued because they lost their Second Amendment right, and as a result of losing their Second Amendment right, they lost a loved one.
That'll be next.
Of course, with our court system.
Anyway, do you guys understand what I'm saying, though? That
putting guns in people's hands is the end-all to end-all.
Right.
That's your basic point. It is better to have it. It's better to have the gun. It may not always be better to use it, but it's always best to have it. You're saying that.
Yeah. But that guns don't fix gang violence. They're not a solution to that, that we really have to address the root problem of gang problems.
Well,
and fatherless.
Let's look at a 14-year-old. Just pluck a 14-year-old out of our, just for example. All right, his daddy, he didn't know him. He doesn't know his daddy. His mother, maybe she works 3 jobs, 2 jobs. Maybe she doesn't do anything. Just lives off the government. He's never seen a real man. He's never seen a Glen Biegel.
Mm-hmm.
Guy comes home, spends time with his family. He has no idea what a man is. What does he know? He knows the kids in the neighborhood. And that's his family. Mm-hmm. And they're all, what do they know? They know Snoop Dogg. They know Fat Jay-Z or whatever these guys, I don't even know these rappers' names anymore. And all they talk about in their music is bust a cap, bust your ass.
Mm-hmm.
I'll cap your ass. And it's all this dark, mean, nasty, violent stuff. And they listen to this music all day. And all their friends listen to it. And in Baton Rouge, there was a thing that arose. Baton Rouge had a huge gang problem where it was gank the light. To get into a gang, you had to gank the light. You know what gank the light is?
No clue.
When you get within like a half a mile of a stoplight, you wait till it turns red, and you fly through that thing at 90 miles an hour.
Wow.
If you gank the light, you're in the gang. And these things would start, all of a sudden we had 5 fatalities within a month in Baton Rouge.
That's the stupidest thing.
Yeah, but that's the mentality that's in the gang environment.
Right.
Is how tough are you? How badass can you be? What chance does that 14-year-old have? He's got no daddy. His mama isn't around. Maybe his mom's on drugs. And all he knows is his buddies. And I got to gank the light. I mean, it's unbelievable. So these gang members who have no respect for life, their starting point is a place where we can't even begin to imagine. 729, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Our number, 569-1080. 569-1080.
And now the Fox. Or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, Microsoft is buying the maker of Minecraft for $2.5 billion. Minecraft is a Lego-style video game where players build structures with blocks. The purchase from Swedish-based Mojang will help Microsoft expand its gaming division. It's also Satya Nadella's first multi-billion-dollar acquisition since he became Microsoft's new CEO back in February. Cognizant is acquiring Trizeto, a healthcare software company, for $2.7 billion in cash. Trizeto's 3,700 employees will join Cognizant's healthcare IT business. And Apple says it's seeing overwhelming pre-order demand for its new iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. The company says it's taken more than 4 million pre-orders, exceeding its initial supply. Apple says the phones will be delivered to customers starting Friday, but many will not be delivered until October. And U.S. factory output unexpectedly fell last month, its first decline since January. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jolene Kent.
You've been thinking about moving over to solar power for your home. So are a lot of other people, which is why some power companies are pushing for extra fees to make up the difference. Get caught in the middle or go with a trusted local solar company and actually own it with no down payment, interest, or payments for a whole year. Get all the tax incentives you're entitled to while you still can. We finance. Call for your free in-home assessment. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR today.
My home, my savings, 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. A Palmer District Court judge will serve a 45-day suspension, and Kenda has that support.
The Alaska Supreme Court has agreed to suspend Judge William Estelle for 45 days without pay as a consequence for signing affidavits requesting payments for cases that had not been decided in the time period that was required. Voters will also decide whether he should stay on the job when his name appears on the November ballot.
A fire in Meadow Lakes Thursday destroyed a house that belonged to a Houston firefighter. The blaze on North Finsbury Lane consumed the mobile home and all items inside. The cause was believed to be a malfunctioning natural gas heater. Matsu Borough Assembly candidates will speak at a Big Lake Chamber meeting today. District 5 candidates Bill Kendig and Dan Mayfield are to speak at noon during the local midday forum today to be held at the Big Lake Family Restaurant. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Sunshine and clouds. You'll see some showers for today, high 60. Tonight, cloudy with spotty showers, low 47. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a brief shower or two, high 59. Tuesday night, low 48. Wednesday, clouds and sunshine, high 58. And cloudy on Thursday, high 59. Friday, high 59. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Football is back, and the best place to get a bite to eat and an ice-cold beer while watching the game is Flat Top Pizza and Pool downtown. Win prizes while sampling our new football menu featuring wings, nachos, and of course, pizza. Come down to Flat Top Pizza and Pool for Monday Night Football every Monday for your chance to win weekly prizes and the grand prize, a trip for two to Kona, Hawaii to watch the big game February 1st at Humpy's Big Island Ale House. And that's just the beginning of what we have in store for you. Monday Night Football at Flat Top Pizza and Pool is the place to be for all your football action.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
What if buying your next car could actually be enjoyable? At Payless Car Sales, we believe it should be. If you're in the market for your next car, come by and meet our knowledgeable staff and explore our selection of quality vehicles. We offer military discounts, and we give all of our customers Carfax history reports. We can also provide warranties and handle all of your lending needs. Just like driving your car should be enjoyable, so should buying it. Visit us downtown at 919 East 5th Avenue or on our website at paylesssales.com. Payless Car Sales, where Alaskans drive.
Hot Talk KOAN every week and the grand prize of movie tickets for life. Fagan and Biegel, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley.
7:35 on a Monday morning, the 15th of September, 2014. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron on your radio. We're glad you're here. KOAN, KVNT is where we're broadcasting. Country Financial, they've got 13 locations in Alaska. They have a real presence here in our state, and Alaskans have come to trust country representatives when it comes to financial planning. Mike Daniels, who's a real good friend of our show, he heads up the entire organization up here in Alaska with Country Financial, and he has trained his people and his team to really ask the right questions, get you into the place where you're well on your way to a successful and worry-free retirement. Give the folks at Country Financial a call. Make sure you're not underinsured. You can lose everything, folks. Let's just be honest. If you don't have the adequate insurance, well, Mike Daniels and his team, they can help you with all that. Their number, 866-COUNTRY, 866-COUNTRY, Country Financial, again, 866-COUNTRY. Country is spelled
COUNTRY.
569-1080 is our number. 569-1080. Glenn's starting it up again. Glen Legal Beagle. Big, huge article / maybe column in the Alaska Dispatch News. And rural Alaska high teacher turnover still vexes. 50% turnover rate in rural Alaska.
Yeah, in a lot of places.
And your thought on it is
that if all a teacher wants to do is teach, what joy would it be to have a profession where you're trained to lead other people to knowledge, and that's what you do every day, and you sit in front of 20 or 30 or maybe even 150, depending on if you're in high school, people who come to you and they get knowledge, you get something out of it, you give knowledge. What a great transaction. What a great job. Well, that isn't what you get when you go out to rural Alaska. And that, the level of dysfunction and failure, some places, I think they graduate between 15 and 30% of their students.
In rural
Alaska. We're talking about dramatic, unbelievable, really nowhere in the free world do we see the level of failure and dysfunction that you have out in the bush. So that the idea that these people are teachers and that they're going to go out into the bush and they're going to see this and experience it, and they can't fix it, they can't change it. All they have to do is just sit there and take it, and that's so what I have a difficulty with is people are confused about why teachers are teaching. They've built teachers up to this idea that teachers are your second parent. Teachers are they're the people who saved you when you were on the wrong track, and that teachers are saviors. They're saints rather than people who want to impart knowledge, rather than people who want to have a decent job, who want to have a purpose in life. And that the whole problem behind this whole story, and again, the title of the story in the Alaska Dispatch News, in rural Alaska, high teacher turnover still vexes. I don't think it should vex people. There are some people who are saints. Most of these teachers are just teachers. They want a rational, responsible, regular place of work that they go to every day so that they can get a paycheck. They want to do what they're trained well to do, and they want to feel good about it at the end of the day. They don't want to try and fix society's problems, which is what people have said now for a couple of decades. Teachers are there to fix society's problems. If your parent's not really pulling their weight, then teachers will come and take care of it. That's not the case for most teachers, and that was my difficulty with the article. I don't think they're strong enough to look at the cause, is basically what I'm saying.
The people I know that have gone out there to teach in the bush have been fresh out of college, They go there to get some good training, to use their training, and to get a quick buck.
Quick buck.
Mm-hmm.
Pays well.
And then they spend a couple years there and they get the experience and then they leave. I don't know.
Or the other end of the spectrum, which I've known, I know of at least 4 cases like this, maybe 5, where the people are teachers their whole lives, and then the last 3 years they go out to rural Alaska because your pension is based on the last 3 years of your career.
Right.
And so they can literally, make hundreds of thousands of dollars more throughout their retirement.
It's their high 3.
Yeah, because it's their high 3. So then we see a lot of that. Look, as a problem student myself, as someone that was very difficult.
True confessions.
To keep my attention and to make, you think I'm picky on movies. You should have seen me on teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of 3 or 4 that kept my attention. But those 3 or 4 could have taught anywhere. If you can get through to me, you get through to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're right, Glenn, and it's got to be a calling. It's got to be a gift. And this is where the teachers union really hurts. Because my big thing in education is if you are clearly demonstrating that you have the gift of teaching, I don't know what percentage of teachers that would be, then you should make a lot more than those who just show up and go through the motions. You say, well, there's too many extenuating circumstances. No, teaching professions is like any other profession. Every job has extenuating circumstances. Every scenario in life there are variables. And when the union says you cannot evaluate teachers because they're extenuating circumstances, some are in bad neighborhoods, some are in good neighborhoods, some have good principals, some have bad curriculum, whatever. Everything's like that. And until we start rewarding the good teachers and not rewarding and, frankly, even getting rid of the bad teachers, then you're always going to have this below average result when it comes to education. And, frankly, I think if you can move out the Aniktuvik Pass and you can change that village because you're a truly gifted teacher, we should pay you $450,000 a year. I don't have a problem with that because the amount of there's not a single profession where that if you are really good at it, you will end up saving more money for the taxpayers than a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can take a kid who's heading down path A, which is dependence, life of crime, substance abuse, and you put them on path B, which is productivity and a contributing member of society, the difference in those 2 paths that will cost the taxpayer is enormous.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no problem with signaling out really gifted teachers, putting them in these trouble areas, and say, do your thing. And here's your big fat paycheck as a result of it.
Yeah, and there's a fundamental difference of opinion there with you and the teachers union as to what makes the best society. In their idea, not judging people, expecting that they'll do well, that's the best society, and that's what works best for people on average, because people on average want to do the right thing. The thing where they're wrong, I think, and this is harsh words, and this is true conservative belief, that there are 60% of teachers who could do better if they had an incentive. There are 20% of teachers who can't do better because they're not good at teaching. And there are 20% of teachers who are already doing better because the paycheck's not what it is for them. But by not getting rid of the 20%, you're not incentivizing the 60% to do better when they could. And so that's the cruelty of the conservative view, which is we live in a world where we have consequences. If I don't do a good job, I get fired, and I don't like getting fired. So I have to come, and it's not like I'm protected, and as long as I show up to work and everything's going to be fine. I've got to go way, way, way above and beyond that.
Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie, KOAN, KVNT, our number 569-1080, 569-1080. The number to reach us on the broadcast, 569-1080. Time currently 7:45.
Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Here at the hospital, the focus is patient health. But as the administrator, my focus is patient information. Medical histories, lab results, millions of documents printed, scanned, and accessed.
With intelligent EchoSys printers and powerful MFPs like the 45-page per minute Task Alpha 4551 CI, plus customized apps and services, Kyocera helps you manage the many documents that matter.
At a hospital, every document is important.
Learn more at kyoceradocumentsolutions.com/US.
Royal Business Systems has been a leading provider of high-quality business technology and services since 1990. Royal Business Systems provides HP, Okidata, and Kyocera printers and MFPs, and support recognized throughout the industry as best in class. Come to Royal Business Systems for the total document solution you need to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Don't call 1-800-WHO-CARES. Call Royal Business Systems at 563-4118. That's 563-4118. Or visit us at akcopy.net.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesak.com.
Find movie showtimes for Anchorage and the Valley at moviesak.com. Check out trailers and reviews updated daily. Moviesak.com, your local location on the web to find out everything you need to know before you go out. Register for free movie tickets that are given away every week and the grand prize of movie tickets for life.
Trail Boss Solutions is your local award-winning, nationally recognized construction and remodel firm. From handyman services to kitchen design and remodel to custom home construction, Trail Boss Solutions has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion, on time and on budget. Trail Boss Solutions is the only call for all your construction, design, and remodel needs. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN. Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley. KVNT.
$7:47 Monday morning. Welcome, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. 7:47. There we go. 7:47 is the time. Welcome to the broadcast. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie on this Monday morning. Trugach Chiropractic, Dr. Byron Schwager. We had him on the show last week. Boy, he sure was impressive. He's such a brilliant guy, and he must get a lot of personal satisfaction from helping so many people when it comes to pain management, living a healthier life. I know he's helped me with so much, and Glenn also. And it's a great place to visit if you have any problems health-wise. Trugach Chiropractic. They rely on natural solutions. You can avoid surgery. No, you don't have to go under the knife. Trugach Chiropractic. Give Dr. Byron Swigert and his team a call. 694-9224. 694-9224. Paul Jenkins wrote a column this weekend. Who is Bill Walker? Neither party would like the answer. He's he nails it.
Neither party may like the answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think he nails it. I wrote on there, Bill Walker does not support the death culture, and he is a part of the war on women. My leftist friends have you no shame.
Do they have any shame?
Well, one said, F off blubber bitch.
Mm.
And he spelled out the F word.
I didn't know that they allowed that on there.
I know. I was surprised. I'd never seen the F word.
Only for you, Dan.
Thank you.
That's from Andy.
That's
with an
Andy
I.
Taggart. Yeah. Clayton McDowell says, you have a leftist friend? Stop the presses. This is big news.
That's a clever response. I like that one.
And, of course, Disa Jacobson, she always has the same comment every story, regardless of what I say. Oil Can Dan, a fugitive from the truth, and donut rehab.
Well, when you lose weight, what is she going to say? Will she be
She'll have
quiet
to come up
for-
with something else.
Yeah.
Maybe bald. You bald. Hair losing
That's
fool.
our next one.
Does she think your opinions are going to change? I mean, if she says those kinds of things?
She constantly lashes out. I don't
get it.
I don't know why people.
A lot of pain there.
Yeah, there is a lot of pain. I don't know what it is. We had a very. I thought it started out to be a very educational back and forth.
Yeah.
Because I made the point several times that I thought what lacks in villages are jobs, and that jobs dramatically change outcomes, and they give men value.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you have enough jobs in a village, that really a lot of our village will be saved from the fact. And so what her response was interesting. She said, well, what about the priest who was abusing the kids? Doesn't he have a job? And I know a lot of men who have jobs and they still abuse their wives and children when they come home. And so I walked her through statistics. You know, I have a degree in math, and so I walked her through some statistics. I said, you know, the individual circumstances are not a proof. You know, you use statistics across an entire population, and you figure out what's better or what's worse. And while it doesn't work in every case, on the whole, in general, this is the way that we figure out what things are better for a whole population. So I walked her through that and so on and so forth, and she eventually stopped responding. But then whenever I would say anything else, now her response to me is, "This is a person who supports abusive priests."
Oh.
I think is what her.
That's how she gets at you.
Yeah,
me, it's my way. You support pedophilia.
Yeah. Anyway, so there must be an enormous, horrible amount of pain there for people, and essentially she didn't have any solutions for what to do about life in the village.
She used to call my KFQD show.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
What reveal to us one of your conversations?
Well, she would be angry. You know, when we talk about sexual assault and domestic violence in rural Alaska, she would say that I have no business talking about it. I'm not Alaska Native. I shouldn't be addressing the topic, and you know, I don't really know what's going on out there, and please be quiet and don't say anything. It was kind of a, you know, just stop talking about it.
What was the goal of not talking about it?
Just it wasn't my place. I wasn't, just like men can't talk about abortion, those non-Alaska Natives can't talk about widespread domestic violence and abuse. It's just not I'm not qualified because of my whiteness.
Did she, and I get this because this was sort of the basis of our conversation, did she have any positive thoughts on the problem or
solutions or anything?
Not that I can remember.
No, in my view, she didn't have any positive solutions either. You know, a lot
of pain.
Yeah.
And it's not just a Native problem; it's all of our problems.
Well, that's the sad part. It's a totally invalid argument.
Well, you know,
to say that since you are not of this race or you're not from this area, that you can't care about an issue. It's totally wrong.
That would be like saying, since I'm not Catholic, I can't care about the abuse issue within the Catholic Church.
I remember
totally wrong
when Frank McCaskey was governor. Yeah, I wasn't his biggest fan. Now that I look back at it, I wish I was more of a fan because I really think he was right on so many topics.
That's a pretty big departure from where you were before. I would say that you were one of his biggest detractors.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I called him a dumbass once.
Yeah, actually, you called him a dumbass several times.
No, not several times. Because my dad said, you can't do that. He's a governor.
Oh.
You shouldn't call him a dumbass.
Yeah, everybody remembers that, by the way. If there's one part of your show that everybody remembers with absolute clarity, that's the one part.
Yeah. But I remember I used to, because we talk about domestic violence and sexual assault in rural Alaska a lot on my old show. And my main point was that to have it so widespread, that has to be the governor's priority. He's got to really focus on that and address it. And he really never did. Sarah didn't either. But our current governor has done exactly what I was hoping for in Frank McCaskey. Look, it is not popular in rural Alaska for our current governor to single out the domestic violence and abuse and sexual assault in rural Alaska. That takes courage. Everybody says Captain Zero, he's a bad leader. Let me tell you something. He has done what no other governor has done in our state. And he has singled out something that is absolutely unacceptable. No, I'm not Alaska Native, but I am a human being. I'm a citizen of this planet. And when little girls look me in the eye, or they're now adults, but they tell me when they were little girls, they remember some adult doing something to their body they didn't like as long as they can remember. It is my job as a citizen of this planet to talk about it. I don't have to be of any particular race, creed, or color to bring that issue to light. And the decent Jacobs of the world, or Jacobsons of the world, are how the offenders prevail. Because the don't talk about it, sweeping them to the rug, you're a racist if you do attack approach is why it continues.
I've been watching the comments about Choose Respect, and to me, this is a perfect example of why leftism is so damaging to your soul. That what they complain about is that he hasn't solved it. Rather than
like you can just snap your fingers and it be gone.
And you know, and this what this is proof of, by the way, is that the purpose of the left is not to solve things; it's to point fingers, it's to lay blame,
yes.
It's to complain about things. His job is not to solve it. He can't solve it. It's like having a policeman doesn't make you safe. It helps it helps the crime afterwards, but they don't stop the crime while it's going on for the most part. And so people, and to me, it's such an eye-opening experience, and I hope that a vast majority of the state of Alaska realizes that people on the left are not there really looking for solutions to problems. They're just looking to point fingers. Because here, like you said, the governor does the right thing. He highlights something. It's very difficult. Most people don't want to talk about this. This has been a statistic for the state of Alaska for a long time, probably the last generation and a half, that we have had the highest rates of sexual assault, of spousal abuse, of child abuse, of drug abuse, of suicide in the country, by far in most areas, and that we're just not talking about them. So here you have a governor who finally says, well, I'll do what I can. I can't solve the problem, but I do want to talk about it, and I do want to make it a priority. And from what he said, and I got to go to a speech of his here recently, he said, there are individual circumstances in one school at a time where teachers took the initiative and they really made it part of the curriculum, that it really has changed things for individual people. I don't know when that'll be reflected in the statistics. I don't know when, if ever, we will ever, until we get jobs in the state and get something for men to do. I don't know that we'll ever not be the rape, sexual assault, spouse abuse capital of our country. But I'm glad the governor did do something.
Yeah, he's taking a hit, and he's going for it. And I remember he made it in his inaugural speech when he became lieutenant governor with Sarah Palin. And it's something that's very important to him, and I respect him for it. And
you'll notice that if they don't do anything, they're criticized. But then when they do, they're criticized too.
569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to join the broadcast. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, broadcasted on KOAN, KVNT, 4 different signals, 95.1 FM in Anchorage, 92.5 FM in the Valley, 1080 AM in Anchorage, 1020 AM in the Valley. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Make way anytime, every day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served
downtown Anchorage with your treasure map to win 80,000 air miles and more. Jive ho to AnchorageDowntown.org for more details and discounts on hotel stay, costumes, and parking at Easy Park lots for the night.
Yo ho, me hearties.
We best be seeing your scallywags at the Pirate Pub Crawl on September 20th.
Brought to you by the Anchorage Downtown Pirate Ship, K&H Graphics, the Blood Bank of Alaska, the Odom Corporation, Dooley's Tuxedos and Rentals, and Alaska Integrated Media.
not just talk. Hot talk. KOAN, Anchorage, 95.1 FM, 1080 AM.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. 24 nations vowing to fight ISIS by any means necessary. The coalition that won't include Iran's military after a meeting in Paris. Fox News Radio, Simon Owen, live in our European Bureau.
Elisa, Iran and the US ruling out working together to confront ISIS, but the countries attending the talks did include a number of Arab states. The US wants this to be a broad global coalition, with the countries in attendance pledging to fight ISIS by any means necessary. What's not known is who will contribute what.
Britain is clear that it will play a leading role in this coalition.
The British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond saying the UK, for one, hasn't decided on whether it will join US airstrikes. Lisa.
Well, Simon, the US also trying to keep more Americans from becoming radicalized with a pilot program designed to counter violent extremism.
Ultimately, to build a broad network of community partnerships to keep our nation safe.
Attorney General Eric Holder says local religious leaders, community leaders, and federal prosecutors will work together. Hotel lobbies full of debris after Hurricane Odil's arrival in a Mexican resort area, then it could drench parts of the U.S. Southwest. Fox Radio's Evan Brown with this live.
Alicia, Pacific Hurricane Odile crashed into Cabo San Lucas last night on the southern tip of Mexico's Baja California peninsula. It was a Category 3 storm at the time. That means winds faster than 110 miles an hour.
It brought everything that a major hurricane would bring, with the storm surge and the heavy rain and the catastrophic winds.
Dennis Feltgen at the U.S. National Hurricane Center. It's now Category 2, but Odile is still expected to dump as much as 18 inches of rain as it makes a northern run up the middle of the peninsula through Friday, Lisa.
Evan, the Minnesota Vikings just announcing that running back Adrian Peterson is expected to play this Sunday after being kept off the field this past weekend over child abuse charges. He's accused of disciplining his 4-year-old son with a tree branch. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Attention homeowners, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. We've told you about HARP in the past. There are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. It's simple and easy. And for 4 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. To learn more, call 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal licensing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Gear up for fall and haul in the savings. Choose 0% 60-month financing or big cash off select John Deere tractors. From the 1 family to 150 horsepower utility tractors. Plus, get $1,500 off new 1 family tractors when you buy 2 implements. Offer ends October 31st, 2014, subject to approved credit on John Deere financial installment plan. Some restrictions apply. See your participating dealer for details.
Visit your local John Deere dealer today to take advantage of special savings going on now. Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
When Alaska hunters get their moose or caribou, deer or sheep, they face a number of choices. The smart ones bring their meat to Herb Eckman at Alaska Sausage.
We have been processing game for Alaskans since 1963. I am very proud of the products we make.
Alaska Sausage makes wonderful breakfast sausage, Polish sausage, summer sausage, and the old favorites, moose-aroni and wieners, plus their famous hunter sticks, pepper sticks, or teriyaki sticks.
And each month we have some great specials like our classic pastrami. Our specials are always very popular. And a superior product starts with superior meat. That's why Alaska Sausage only accepts good, clean game meat that has been well cared for before it gets to us.
You know, there's a lot of hard work involved in bringing back your moose or caribou or sheep, a lot of hard work. So it only makes sense to take it where you'll get the best sausage and meat. Alaska Sausage, near the corner of Arctic and Benson. And our Valley customers can drop their clean boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up and complete your order.
Just tell them Herb sent you.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin with Harrington & Company. I am looking for a qualified buyer with a 90% letter from his lender. I have a 3-bedroom, bath and a half, single-car garage with carport on a large single-family lot in East Anchorage. It is priced in the mid-200,000s. It needs only a little bit of TLC. Please call me, Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River.
When Malarkey Mark Begich ran for U.S. Senator, he made a lot of claims about his record as Anchorage mayor. Begich knew the truth wouldn't come to light before the election. But now, history has caught up with Malarkey Mark. Under Begich, Anchorage taxes went up 27%. Under Begich, the city budget ballooned, a $142 million increase in spending. Under Begich, the city was saddled with unprecedented 5-year union contracts. Under Begich, a deficit of over $20 million was left for the next mayor to deal with. Begich left Anchorage in serious trouble. Alaska's Energy, America's Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call. 5.com. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
6 minutes past 8 o'clock on a Monday morning. How are you doing this morning? Hope you're ready for a fun, exciting work week. I know my good friend Glen Biegel, who's sitting right over here, is. So is Bonnie Cameron. She's all geared up. My name's Dan Fagan. I'm excited about the work week. You know, part of having an enjoyable work week is to have an enjoyable commute. And our friends over at Payless Car Sales, Ollie Chic, he's going to get you into a vehicle, car, truck, SUV that's going to be very reliable and dependable. Oh, how important dependable is in Alaska in the winter. Ollie Chic and his team, they've got a great eye for value. He's got huge selection of beautiful cars, trucks, SUVs. And you will pay less, as their name says. Payless Car Sales. Go see our friend Ollie Chic over on East 5th Avenue. 919 East 5th Avenue. Ollie Chic, Payless Car Sales. Our number, 569-1080. 569-1080. Bless their hearts.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
Oh, boy. Bless the global warming.
That's never good.
Bless the climate change cult members' hearts. They mean well. This is, you know how many years, I'm going to ask Bonnie this. I think a lot of probably know this. I like asking questions that people probably won't know the answer.
Because I'm usually way off.
Do you know how long they've been measuring what percentage of the globe is covered, or the sea ice that covers the globe, you know, on the oceans? How long have they known how big the sea ice has been, would you guess? And you know, this, I'll give you a little hint. They really started to be able to measure this adequately once they started sending satellites up into space. How long do you think it's been that we've known the size of the ice pack? The ice pack. There you go.
I don't know, 60 years?
You cut that in half. It's about 35.
Oh.
So, you know, this is one of the things about the global warming climate change cult that just blows me away. It's not like their science is based on hundreds or thousands of years, right, Glenn? The data that they're using to prove that we're all going to be underwater in 25 years is only 35 years old. So that's the first flaw in the global warming climate change.
For the ice review.
Well, their premise is that the oceans will fill up with ice and then melt, and then we'll all be underwater.
Mm-hmm.
That's their doomsday scenario.
This is what they told my wife when she was in 4th grade.
Yeah, what a wonderful thing to tell a
50
child.
million people would die because California, the coastlines would be erased, and that was going to happen.
And the evil Republicans want this to happen. So 35 years we've been measuring sea ice. Well, so that's the first problem. Their data is very short-lived. Well, it turns out that the 35 years they've been measuring sea ice, the size of the Antarctica sea ice is now double of what it's been ever in the last 35 years. The extent of Antarctic sea ice reached record levels. Scientists say the extent of Antarctica sea ice cover is at its highest level since records began 35 years ago. So they've got that to deal with. And, you know, they used to be global warming people. Now they're climate change because the Earth has actually been cooling for the last 18 years. So they had to change their name.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's climate change, which, of course, that's what climates do. They change. So they're pretty safe on that one.
Yeah.
Unless it's always going to be 72 degrees every day for the rest of the, you know, you can't lose on climate change.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the man-made things that we're doing for it to be cooling? What are those?
Well, the debate is how much of the fact that the climate changes, which is what climates do, how much of that is man-made?
Mm-hmm.
And really, you know, when you look at what's going on in China and India, where the pollution is much greater than here in the United States, you can say, well, that's you know, they never say that. They always want to cap and trade us.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a control issue. Look, my philosophy, Glenn, is that the left is always going to be with us. They're always going to be doing one thing and one thing only: more control, less freedom. And they evolve and they manifest in different forms. They're chameleon-like in their efforts. Soviet Union, communism, jihadism, global warming, cultism. It's all about taking away your freedom and centralizing power. And these useful idiots, pardon the pejorative term, they're in for anything. All you do is just scare them a little bit, and yeah, okay, I'll give you my freedom if that's what you need.
Yeah.
Is that too simple, Glenn?
They've gone for a long period of time.
They
now.
being the left.
They being, well, the education community, you know, people who I think originally considered themselves to be, you know, very wise. And I have a brother of mine actually works for NASA, by the way.
That doesn't surprise me. I can see beagles at NASA.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that half the NASA staff isn't.
He got a PhD in theoretical physics at Stanford.
It's Stanford. That doesn't surprise me.
So he's got the same memory problems I have, so I feel good about that.
Does he really?
Yeah. If he has to do anything more than two things, he must write them down, or he will not remember them at all.
Did he have a brain injury?
No.
So maybe your memory problem isn't because of trauma; it's because of your genetic makeup.
It may not. All I know is there was
your,
something that changed.
I think it's that your brain is so huge
and
just operates on such a high level, you can't be storing other stuff in there. It's just your brain's so big it takes you'd have to have a head that was like 4 feet in size in diameter.
All those neurons have a long way to go.
Contain that thought.
What's funny is I'm not, you know, I'm the least intelligent, lowest IQ person in my family.
That's not possible.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no, it's true. We all got tested. Here's the thing to know about IQ, by the way, for people who don't know. It has nothing to do with how you do in life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably an opposite reaction to how happy you are in life. The smarter you are, I think the less happy you become.
What?
I think that's true, generally.
So you're the most happy of all your siblings?
I'm the most happy of all. I know. I have no idea. But
explain to me what an IQ is.
An intelligence quotient. The way that they test it is they find out whether or not you can solve various puzzles, whether you can remember things, fit things into a picture. I don't remember.
Thinking.
Yeah, I mean,
in a layman's term, would it be book knowledge versus?
No. It actually doesn't. It is something that's very difficult. The actual definition of IQ is if you have a 200 IQ, theoretically, if you were 10 years old, you would be able to perform things like a 20-year-old. It was kind of a measurement of how advanced your brain is. That stuff is not real. Like the highest IQ that was known was like 220 or something like that.
What's yours?
Should I say?
Yeah.
Is that weird?
Do it.
Come on.
Oh, it was 135.
Okay, and so what would your brothers be?
I don't know. About 180. Some of them are 180. Some of them are 160.
What's yours,
Wow.
Bonnie?
Oh, I have no idea.
But anyway, so but
mine was 9.
I don't think that this kid, he knew 7 languages. He could do advanced calculus. I mean, things that almost no people could do, and he still only had a 220 IQ. So I don't really think I don't think that's what it is. Anyway, I don't know. Where were we going with this? Oh, we're talking about global warming. We'll have to talk about that when we get back.
8:14.
You're on with Fagan and... You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KV.
There's managing people, customers, income, expenses, unexpected issues, growing your brand, and so much more. Ready to be more efficient in everything you do? Then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
I'm Leslie Moore. I teach 7th grade here in Anchorage. I'm tired of the DC outsiders coming to Alaska to falsely attack Dan Sullivan. Don't believe their dishonest ads. The truth is, Dan Sullivan has stood up for Alaskans and delivered results. I've seen it firsthand. After the financial crisis, my pension took a big hit. It was a difficult time for all Alaska teachers. But Attorney General Dan Sullivan fought back, forcing a Wall Street firm to pay for their malpractice, putting almost $500 million back into the retirement fund for Alaskans.
Dan Sullivan stood up to Wall Street and Washington as our Attorney General and DNR Commissioner, fighting for Alaska.
Dan Sullivan stood up for me and every Alaskan teacher. He's a man of the highest integrity, and he will fight for Alaskans, not for the big money special interests. This is a critical time for our nation and state. We need more people like Dan Sullivan fighting for us in the U.S. Senate.
I'm Dan Sullivan, and I approve this message.
Paid for by NRSC and authorized by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
The Alaskan Defender of Family, Firearms, and the Freedom of Speech, Eddie Berg.
I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care who you're married to. I don't care what goes on in your private life. The only thing I care about is how you're gonna vote, because that's the only thing that affects me.
Eddie Berg and Friends on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM, 1080 AM. Hot Talk.
Sponsored by the Alaska National Guard, aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Fagan and Biegel, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron on this September 15th, 8:17 in the morning. We're broadcasting on KOAN and KVNT. We're glad you're here. So IQ, knowledge, you made the statement that you feel like the higher the IQ, the unhappier you will be.
Yeah, I think a lot of happiness is being just like everybody else, is not putting yourself in your own boat and looking at somebody else and go, oh, well, that's just them because that's the way those people live. I think the more you do that, the less happy you become, the less satisfied. Yeah, that you separate yourself from other people, and that IQ, because people with high IQs really are operating at a different level a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
That they're thinking of things and they're pondering things and they end up separating themselves from the quote the average, ordinary normal people. And I just think that makes you unhappy. That is what unhappiness is. That if you compare yourself with everybody else, or separate yourself.
And you think people with high IQs tend to do that more than low IQs?
That would be my guess, is that people with high IQs, I've met most of the people I've met with high IQs, very, very decent people, but some of the people who I know who have high IQs, even though I don't know what it would be, they really look at the rest of the world as sort of, oh, look, all these ants, honestly, how happy can they be? And they end up, to me, being the least happy.
Well, let's look at, because we've got two high IQs in this room. We've got Brian, who has a 135, you say?
No, 126.
126. And yours, Glenn?
135.
And what's
this
yours?
Was when I was 5 or something, by the
90?
way. 7, 90. I don't know. This was a long time
average.
ago, so maybe
I'm
it's
completely
totally
average.
And mine's 9. So did you say this was when you were 7?
Yeah, I think that's when we got tested, 7 or 8.
Does your IQ grow as you get older?
No. It's supposed to stay the same.
Okay.
It's always supposed to measure the same.
Those are both well above average, right? 126, 135.
Yeah.
Yes, Brian?
I don't know if mine's that much above average, but
yours is way above average, yes.
But yeah, you two are very different people.
Yeah, but we're both happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Brian seems happier than you.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Well, I have one child.
People are ganging up on me here.
Sometimes
Glenn,
you can get too honest.
If you're happy, you're like.
I was saying that as a joke.
I think Glenn has a way brighter outlook than me.
There you go.
Optimistic?
Yeah.
But Brian.
Sorry, Glenn.
I see things in black and white.
Yeah, you do, but you're not. There's no pessimism with you.
No.
So how can Glenn's very optimistic, but I find you very optimistic.
He's more fulfilled. He's happy.
You
He's
think?
got the family to go home to, and the kids, and all my family's moved. I'm here alone.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
you got your
kinda
television
sad.
to go home to.
That's true. That is my best friend. That and my car.
Yeah, your new car.
Yeah. So I can live in either one of those.
Anyway,
I think people with high IQ are just so busy thinking that they're antisocial. They become antisocial.
I think that describes me a lot.
There you go.
You're out at Coots every night.
Yeah, but I'm over there behind the DJ booth, not
In his
talking to
little
anybody.
in his little box and
Yeah,
just
like
watching
playing
people
music.
watching.
Yep, exactly. Watching people.
And you learn a lot from watching people.
Yeah, like
A
which
lot of
ones have
what?
guns.
I think Glenn was really onto something though. I do agree that the keeping up with the Joneses, comparing yourself to other people, that is a deal killer for happiness. You are not going to be happy
That is so
if you
true.
measure your life against anybody else's,
Or your spouse.
Even if it's the homeless guy down the street, you still, he may have a nicer shoe than you or something. You just never know. But yeah, I agree. That's a big deal.
But didn't Dennis Prager talk about this? He said, everyone looks at everyone else around them and thinks, oh, they're so happy, and we're not happy.
Yes.
And that's until you get to know them,
Yes.
and you'll find out they've got problems just like everybody.
Facebook is the worst for that. It is
Yeah.
the worst.
Anyway,
'Cause all you see is the positive.
I don't know why people do that. They should live their own lives.
I love the Facebook posts now that are like, look at my dinner, it was a flop.
Yay!
Look how awful it turned out. That's my kind of post.
Oh boy, you still have a little bit of television in you, because that's really that's television mentality right there. You're not gonna watch a television show about the Brady Bunch anymore.
No, we want to see dysfunction.
That's right. We
And
want to
cheer
see
for
the
it.
greatest amount of dysfunction we possibly can.
Because then we feel normal.
Yeah, exactly.
There's an old saying that life's harder when you're stupid.
Is there?
Yeah.
What is
Which
stupid?
I think,
just reality?
Which I don't know that that's true, because when you're stupid, you don't know much, and you live in your simplicity.
Mm.
And it's kind of like, this is what I expect, this is what I get.
Yeah.
Your expectations are much lower.
Right.
Your goals are much easier achieved. And so,
Because your standards aren't very high.
yeah, and it's just easier to be content when but sometimes with the, let's say, the intellectual crowd, they have these high aspirations and these huge goals and these, you talk to some people in their early 20s, late teens, and after they win their third Nobel Peace Prize, then they want to go to the moon, But they don't want to go to the moon until after they've won their first 3 Nobel Peace Prizes. And
Because they're entitled to it.
that's right. And then when, once they get into 25, 26, they realize Nobel Peace Prizes aren't that easy. And so managing expectations, I think, is important. But then you also want to dream. I think people who do great things in life are dreamers, not the Hillary, Obama dreamers, people who break into countries, but real dreamers. I think if you're ever going to achieve anything in life that is so exceptional, you at your core have to be a dreamer. You have to embrace the impossible. You have to say in your heart, I don't care if nobody has done it before. I know it can be done because it's in my heart. It's a desire I have in my heart, and I'm going to do it regardless of what the circumstances look like.
Now, I think that bad advice, this is coming from and this may tell you a lot about me. A lot of people go dream big. I say dream small. Get that first thing, and this is more Dave Ramsey-ish,
I do not like him.
Why not?
Well, I'm going to finish this point.
Okay, but that in Dave Ramsey's world, the way you get started is you put $1,000 down or away so that you have an emergency fund. Then you start paying off your credit cards. That he's got the step-by-step process that, if people sit there and they dream all these big dreams, and those are the things that govern their life, they're going to miss the rocks and the logs that are in their way that they actually have to get over before they can live their life. So I would start by dreaming small, reasonable, responsible things. Getting a car is a dream. It's not a big dream. It's a dream that most everybody accomplishes, but that's the kind of stuff you should dream up to start with. You should do well on the next test. You should,
I agree there's a balance, but Ramsey's all about safety, playing life safe.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever take any risk. Don't ever do anything that could put you in a position where you could be in trouble. And that's just no way to live life, in my opinion.
You don't have children.
No, you're right. And that may be, I don't think I'd live my life any different if I did. Maybe I would. You're right, Glenn. That's a good point.
I think that's because he's been there. He was big, and then he lost it all. So that's probably where he's coming from.
So he's playing it safe.
Well, having a kid isn't playing it safe either. That's scary.
Yeah, no, that's a big risk, too.
Yeah.
Just asking someone to marry is a risk.
Yep.
Well, but Ramsey's experience, and here's where I think Dan is right on this. Ramsey's experience, here he had all these big dreams. He really lived his life, lived it to the fullest. He was flipping houses. Everything was going like gangbusters. All of a sudden, the bottom falls out of the market because of the bad policies at the federal level and people giving houses. So he loses everything. I think, though, that if he had dreamed big, done the right things, and then made wise choices. I think that at no point did wisdom infringe on his success. And that's where I agree with Dan that he maybe learned too harsh of a lesson, and that he's unable to fit that into, I want to dream big, I want to do good things, I want to do big things, I want to take risks in life, but those risks should be measured against wisdom. Those risks should be measured against, things that we can accomplish and things that I have a good, strong path to get to. Not, well, there's a unicorn that's going to come pick me up and is going to take me over the rainbow, and then I'm going to find a pot of gold. Not
but
that
risk,
kind of stuff.
by its very nature, involves risk. Risk is really what life's all about. You cannot do great things without risk. You just can't. You can't be. You can't achieve these goals that are going to far exceed everyone else's expectations for you if you do not take risk. It starts with risk. When you ask your fantastic, amazing wife to marry you, look at the dividends that paid for you. But that was a huge risk, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you're on the radio today, the fact that you would have the audacity, you too, Bonnie, to sit in front of a microphone and say, yeah, I'll sit there for 3 hours and talk every day, that's a huge risk. You guys could have come across looking like an idiot. And frankly, Glenn, when you were first on the air, you probably did. And Bonnie, you probably have
Still do.
He was going to make a much harsher point about me, though.
No.
He backed away from it. And
no.
Glenn, you often are an idiot.
No.
Going with
Glenn, I think you're an amazing talk show host now. But I'm sure when you first started on your Saturday morning KBYR show, you were probably pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, I had big thoughts, and I thought through things, but my presentation, my presentation of a year ago,
right,
is just, I don't even know how anybody could listen.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that, but you really are good now. So, but to get from A to B, you had to keep doing it. You had to sit there and grind it out. Every day you showed up to do that show, you were taking a risk. People were going to think you're foolish. People were going to think you're bad at what you do, but you didn't care. Because you were going to do what you felt like was the right thing to do.
I felt that way with homeschooling.
Exactly. Homeschooling is a risk.
That was huge.
What a huge responsibility it is to say that I personally, as a non-educator,
right,
will take on the responsibility of being 100% responsible for my kids' education.
There were days where I would just lose it and be like, what am I doing?
Yes.
But then the good days were so good.
Risk is such a huge component of life. And to the degree that you're willing to risk and sometimes fail, and I understand it gets very complicated when you have 11 mouths to feed or 5 mouths to feed. And that's, oh, how I wish I had 9 kids. I don't regret it. I don't beat myself up. I am willing to accept life for what it is. But not having children has given me the opportunity to take many risks that I probably would have never been able to take. So, there's a trade-out on everything. Life's always a trade-out. But risk. I'm just such a huge believer in risk. And Ramsey likes to take all the risk out of life. And that's my problem, in a nutshell. 569-1080, 569-1080. Glen Biegel, Dan Fagan, Bonnie Cameron, 829.
It's Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. The Alaska National Guard has advertised the position of Adjutant General. The job became open after Thomas Katzis resigned under pressure following a scathing report about an alleged culture of fraud and sexual assault within the Alaska National Guard. The Houston City Council has rejected a rezoning measure that would have allowed 2 parcels of land to be reclassified from residential agricultural to heavy industrial. The proposed rezoning was opposed by nearby residents who did not want an Alaska Native company to construct a light bulb factory in the area. The vote to reject the rezoning was 5-2. 27 health centers across the state will share in more than $5 million in federal funding. The money is to be used to hire additional doctors and expand primary care services. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Sunshine and clouds. You'll see some showers for today, high 60. Tonight, cloudy with spotty showers, low 47. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a brief shower or 2, high 59. Tuesday night, low 48. Wednesday, clouds and sunshine, high 58. And cloudy on Thursday, high 59. Friday, high 59. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Chris here along with my buddy Brock. That's right, we're here to tell you to tune into The Beer Show every Saturday at 5 p.m. on 95.5 and 1080 KOAN. The Beer Show is brought to you by Brown Jug Alaska, Eagle River Ale House, Great Artisan Beverages, and the Odom Corporation. Please drink responsibly.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Do you want to save thousands of dollars a year and also lose weight? Well, start packing a lunch. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. On average, most people spend about $10 a day on lunch. Add in that daily coffee tab, and well, think about how much money you could save every month. But beyond the cost savings of bringing your lunch to work, consider this. You'll consume fewer than half the calories you would by eating out. You're also less likely to feel that midday slump because you aren't stuffing yourself at lunchtime. Now, leftovers are great food to pack for work, or you can start from scratch. But cook in bulk for the week. It's going to make it quick and easy to grab and go on the way to work. Convenience is the key to sticking with it. Stock up on some hearty soups or some frozen meals. Leave them in your break room refrigerator. That'll help keep your wallet and your waistline slim on days you forget to pack a lunch. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
I had crunchy Belvita breakfast biscuits this morning. Then what did I do? Did a sit-up, did my makeup late to train, so I stood up, made a guy think I was into sports. Had a meeting where we met, then a meeting after that, took a break, and then we had another meeting.
That didn't rhyme.
Yeah, sorry, those meetings left my brain a bit blurred.
Crunchy Belvita breakfast biscuits are made with delicious ingredients and carefully baked to release steady energy all morning long. Belvita.
Morning, Win.
America was built by people with a few dollars and a dream. And while many don't know it, there's one path to success that still only requires a dream and about $10. That's right. If your dream is to start or grow your business, something as simple as the right business card could make all the difference. And today at Vistaprint.com, you can get 500 full-color business cards for only $9.99. That's right, only $9.99. Just go to Vistaprint.com and enter promo code 6666 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 66.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States.
Maybe an astronaut or Oh, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way.
We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist with Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and expires 9/30/14. Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m.
$8:35 in the morning. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie want to remind you that Tom Anderson's show on KVNT is moving to a new time. He's going to be on from 4 to 6 instead of 5 to 7, which is a much better time. Most people are usually home by 6 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I love his show. You heard his show, Glenn? You've not heard his show?
No.
Bonnie, have you?
No.
Oh,
That's a busy time for me.
He's very adept at carrying on a conversation.
Yeah. Well, he's had an amazing life experience and he's very colorful. I don't know. He seems like a really fun guy.
He knows how to do a talk show. I'm very impressed with it. And then, of course, his ex-wife,
Liesel,
is now on with Eddie Burke.
Up against him?
4 to 6 here in Anchorage. Is that right, Brian? Is that when they're on 4 to 6?
Yeah, actually.
Have you heard much of Eddie Burke, the Eddie Liesel show?
I have not been able to hear them yet.
Have either one of you?
I listened to the first day.
And how was it?
I thought she did well.
Other than my constituents?
Yes.
Wait,
my constituents this, my constituents tell me that.
Yeah.
When I go out into the neighborhood, it was like listening to a campaign speech. But I thought she did pretty good.
That was as backhanded of a compliment
I
as
mean, my
anything
goodness,
I've ever
that
heard.
was really putting me on the spot.
I brought it out of her. Here's the thing that people don't realize.
Don't ask me.
That you a lot of times people become who their job is. And for people who are in the legislature, they become a legislator rather than a person. People don't want to hear her as a person. And I know that she's got enormous life experience. She is gonna if she opens up to her audience, she will have an amazing presentation because she has lived a very rich and very interesting life.
Yeah, I wanted to hear more about her kids. I didn't even know she had kids. And
oh yeah, so you'll
great
as you listen to her, I'm sure that she will find out that that's really what her job is.
Listen, I'm not going to criticize. I'm the last person
I think
to
we're
criticize.
I think we're a little late for that. I think we passed that point.
I just
that bridge
realized
has
I
been
am
burned.
the last person to criticize. So.
Basically, you just said she gives political speeches.
No.
That's exactly what you said.
She said she gives them well, though.
That's what I gleaned. But, being only on for that 2 hours, it's really not even 2 hours. I would have liked to listen more, so that's a good thing. Right?
Yeah.
Can I dig out of my hole now?
Now, do you think as she goes through the legislative process that she will this is a difficult question to answer, but will she be strong enough to tell us the truth about what goes on down in Juneau? And if she is honest about what goes on down in Juneau, will everyone else continue to treat her as one of the crew?
Maybe she's letting too much out of the bag.
Well, I don't know that she's letting anything out of the bag. I don't know that the average person, or even me, knows what goes on down in Juneau at all. I mean, right now they're having a big discussion about whether or not to change leadership.
How can she?
For the Republicans.
How can she even do this? and do that? That was my question.
She's going to broadcast from down there. 2 hours, I guess, 2 hours a day.
And you're allowed to do that as a legislator?
You can do anything you want as a legislator. A lot of companies love the idea, especially unions here. They love the idea that legislators are part of, that they work for the unions and that they're legislators at the same time. We have a citizen legislature. So, in that sense.
Well, they all have to have a regular job, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Although they all make pretty good money.
Yeah. You probably clear about $60,000 as a legislator.
No, it's more like the senators about 120, House members 90.
But that's because you're having to rent a place down in Juneau,
you get, like, per
and
diem.
that consumes most of that expense. So I think that the actual take-home walk-away pay is about $60,000.
I know that a lot of the legislators they'll rent and share with a couple other people. It's not that expensive. Plus, they get a per diem every day to eat while they're down there.
Right.
They do well.
Yeah.
They do well. I mean, it's more than the average private sector worker.
Yeah.
And they only work really 3 or 4 months out of the year if they really want to.
So with this new legislative office we're getting in Anchorage, will they be here more? That's my question.
Well, I don't know.
I would hope so.
You would think they would maybe.
Because if they were more accessible, I would be down there a lot more, giving my thoughts on matters.
Well, I would hope they'd at least hold more legislative hearings here.
Well, since they spent so much money on the building and the furniture.
Yeah, really. That made the news pretty well.
What do they call it? Taj
Mahal?
Taj Mahal.
Taj Mahal. That's
yeah.
it. Hey, Begich got a bill passed.
Oh,
and I'm sure that it's not political at all.
They let him pass a bill.
I'm sure. And the House hasn't come up with anything like this.
Here's the conversation.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Reed? Yes, who is it? It's Mark Begich. Who? Mark Begich. Who? Mark Begich. I'm from Alaska.
Mark.
Oh, yeah.
You're that, Mark. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're that new kid. Yeah, come in. Yeah, Mr. Reed, I'm running for re-election. Yeah? And, well, my opponent's pointing out that I've never had anything passed, even an amendment passed. Yeah, so what do you want? Well, sir, it would really help me if you would let me just get one bill passed, maybe something with no controversy to it, like helping our veterans. What's your name again? Begich, Mark Begich. All right, let me talk to my people. I'll get back with you. So don't bother me again. Yes, sir, Mr. Reed. So sorry. So sorry, sir, to bother you.
Backing out, bowing.
Yeah, backing up, bowing.
That's it. That is exactly the conversation that happened. It may not have used the same words, but I'll guarantee you that the feelings were exactly the same.
And
Do not bother me. And it's so funny. Yeah, did anyone vote against this?
They gave
Did
him a
any
bill.
person in the Senate vote against this bill?
I'm sure
You can't vote against the veterans.
So benign where you couldn't.
Well, what it was it tied the increase in pay for service members to the CPI or something Social Security increases.
It's like something they were going to do anyway, and they thought it'd help him.
Well, honestly, is that controversial at all? And the idea that this hasn't already come from the House in 10 different forms.
Right.
And now this goes on to the House.
I think this actually hurts him.
And it made big.
Does it?
6 years into his term, he gets a bill passed?
Right.
He had a Democrat president, Democrat House, Democrat Senate.
How many?
6 years?
Here's the question. How many non-controversial bills will this Senate leadership not allow to come to a vote unless there is a political payoff for them?
Right.
That's the question. And you'd have to guess that it's probably a lot. I would imagine the way that the EPA is treating us is not going to be, that might not be 100 to 0 as this bill was, sounds like.
I heard that the other day that there's something like 350 bills sitting on Harry Reid's desk, and they've only gotten like 50-some passed. And most of the bills not passed are economy helping bills.
Well, if the Democrats propose it, it's not going to help the economy.
Yeah.
It'll help their boys and girls, though.
It'll grow government.
AFL-CIO ticket, got running here.
Give unions more power.
Mm-hmm.
569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to be a part of the broadcast. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie, right here on KOAN, KVNT, broadcasting on 4 different signals, 95.1 FM, 92.5 FM in the Valley, 1080 in AM in Anchorage, 1020 AM in the Valley. Time is 8:44.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza, 333-8000.
I like my breakfast like I like my rock. Soft. So I eat Belvita soft baked breakfast biscuits, a tasty breakfast option for nutritious morning energy. It's just what I want before writing a flute solo that will softly rock every dentist's office around. Try Belvita soft baked in oats and chocolate, cinnamon, mixed berry, and banana bread. Belvita, morn and win.
Get addicted to the First Lady of Talk Radio, Laura Ingraham.
Alaska Talk is hot even when it's cold. Hi, Anchorage. This is Laura Ingraham. Join me weekdays for your healthy radio addiction on Hot Talk KOAN.
Weekdays beginning at 2 p.m. on Hot Talk KOAN, 95.1 FM, 1080 AM. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
$8:47 is the time. You need a new roof. Earhart Roofing, they're the premier roofing specialist in the state of Alaska. Frankie and Becky Earhart, their son James, they're the very best. They've been in business 42 years, started from scratch. Now they have 17 trucks, 60 employees. Family-owned business. It's the American dream come true. Earhart Roofing. Here's their number, 345-5555. 345-5555. If you need a new roof, give them a call. And oh, by the way, if they install a roof for you, which will take a couple of days, they give you a 50-year warranty with that roof. That's right, 50 years. What else do you really need to know? Earhart Roofing, 345-5555. 569-1080, 569-1080. Bless her heart. Bless the Palin family's heart. You have a question for me on the Palin, what do you call it, Rumblegate?
A Rumblegate.
Or a Melee Gate?
Let's get ready to rumble.
Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, by the way.
This is the question I have for you. The Blaze put together a, quote, story on this.
That's
from
Glenn
anonymous
Beck's deal.
Yeah, an anonymous source. I don't know. I didn't know what to make of it, but do the facts that they present change the substance of the story in any meaningful way?
Well, if you're going to look at the original story, you'd say, what's the most damning component of the original story. My opinion is when she allegedly said, "Don't you know who I am?"
Okay.
Some media outlets reported it as, "Don't you know who we are?" That's very damning. You pull up to a party in a limo and you scream that out at any point. You're looking at a person that's pretty detestable, right? You don't want anybody who walks into an area. The Will Ferrell, one of the most brilliant comedians of our time, one of the funniest lines he's ever had in any movie was in Anchorage, where he said, "I don't know how to say this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
People know me." And that that obnoxiousness,
Yes.
right? Can you get more obnoxious than that? So when the media says Sarah Palin yells out, "Don't you know who I am?" It is the most obnoxious thing you can do. Now, what the Blaze is reporting is that when a bunch of guys started to get in a fight with Track, what she actually said was, "Don't you know who he is? He's a vet," in reference to her son, which is much different than "Don't you know who I am?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the Blaze is correct, and Glenn, I'm just going to be honest here.
Mm-hmm.
I lost all respect for Rush Limbaugh, Dennis Miller, Sean Hannity, you name it, Laura Ingraham, when they reported on a national stage that Sarah Palin was a conservative. And they did not look at her record as governor. And I realized that these guys, like the left, are agenda-driven. And they're not going to always report what's true. And that was a heartbreaking thing for me, because I had spent most of my life thinking these guys would always shoot straight with me.
Mm-hmm.
So
they take shortcuts, is the way I say it, because honestly, how are you going to know whether somebody's record is liberal, conservative, whatever?
By
Most of what you're going to know.
2 phone calls.
To who?
Well, look.
To you?
Well, you could have called me. You could have called Paul Jenkins. You could have called any Republican in the legislature who would speak off the record. She raised taxes through the roof. She caused Alaska to miss out on the oil boom that the rest of North America experienced. This record is without dispute. And if I'm a national talk show host, and everybody keeps telling me Sarah Palin's so conservative, I'm gonna say to myself, well, let's see what she did as governor. And then I realized she gave away all that cash. She put a Planned Parenthood board member on the Supreme Court. Yeah, I know she had no choice. I don't believe that. I don't want to go down the whole list again.
Yeah, I don't want to go down the whole list either. Anyway, I agree that it was maddening and sad that they didn't do their homework and they didn't do their background. They take what she says in her national speeches, which is all very, 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 very conservative. Did I say very enough? And they take that's what's true. That is who she is. So you think that the story though changes dramatically when she says, "Don't you know who he is? He's a vet,"
yes.
Which is kind of what Bonnie's suggestion, your suggestion initially was. It would have been much better if she said, "Let's not forget who we are."
Right.
Which that is another way to say.
Remember
what you said.
who we are.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this though. As someone who's covered Sarah Palin many times, watching her in many tight a spot, much of her own doing, 80 to 90% of the time she gets in a tight spot, she is untruthful. So to say that she called the Blaze her ally and said what I really meant to say was, or what I really said was, is, that I wouldn't put that past her in a heartbeat.
It does sound kind of folksy.
Yeah, maybe she's saying what she wishes she said, rather than what she did say or what she meant to say.
I don't know. It's just that when my kids and I and Robert are going out and, like, say we're sitting in church or we're going, out into the community,
getting ready to rumble.
Well, whatever, wherever we're going, it's remember who we are, remember who we represent, and it's not a don't embarrass me. It's not that, because I know kids are going to be kids, but it's remember who we are.
So who are we?
Well, first of all, we're Christians. Second of all, we represent a family unit. Third, we represent homeschooling. And so it's just trying to put a positive spin on that. And I feel like that's what she should be doing. Instead of trying to get their family out of fixes and making excuses for their behavior, call them out on it. You know, give them the positive. Remember who we are. Remember who we represent, supposedly.
Well, I'm looking forward to more details coming out about this.
This did make me wish I would have said, oh, there's two sides to every story, instead of jumping right on it. But when you have a person who's willing to come out and give their name with a story, that Eric Thompson, he was willing to put his name on the line, and then we have this other report that's anonymous.
The Blaze.
Yes.
Well, here's my problem with the Blaze report. If this was a anonymous source, none of the, other than the most damning part of the scandal, which is, do you know who I am, none of the other things were refuted.
That I agree with. Todd was still choking somebody.
There was
Track
still profanity.
there was profanity that Sarah was yelling. The Track was on the street with his two middle fingers with his shirt off, and here's the thing which I thought was most telling about it, and what makes me wonder whether or not the Blaze is telling the truth, and that is the person who was running the party told the Palins to leave.
Mm-hmm.
That is clear, and that was not disputed in the piece either. And if you are running a party and this is not the problem, you don't tell people to leave. The people who you tell to leave, those are the people causing the problem.
Well, this is not over. If it's true, there will have to be some law enforcement involvement. You cannot, as it is alleged, go up and swing at somebody and hit them in the face 5 or 6 times, even if you're a 20-year-old girl or however old she is now. You cannot choke a teenager because you're unhappy with the way.
And this was a teenager's dad.
Oh,
Connor Cleary's dad. Todd was choking Connor Cleary's dad.
Oh, I thought he was choking
Connor Cleary was there with his mom and dad.
Oh, okay.
If you can imagine.
Oh, so he was choking the dad.
He was choking the dad.
Okay.
And it was also said in the Blaze story that that 4 guys jumped Track.
Right.
Instead of Track starting it.
Right. And to me, that might change things a little bit, because then you don't really know who started the whole, but Todd's interaction with it, that becomes really problematic.
Do you think we have to worry, Glenn, about APD giving special treatment to the Palins and not doing their due diligence to conduct an investigation?
What reason would they have for that?
She's Sarah Palin.
I don't know. The difficulty is,
I mean, you said on the show the other day about the world celebrities and NFL players live in and how they get special treatment, which I don't disagree with. Why would Sarah Palin be any different? Why wouldn't she get special treatment?
My guess is virtually everybody. You look at the people who are out. Probably the 6 people who got shot. 1 critically injured. Everybody's been given special treatment. Most people get off. Most people don't feel the full weight of the law. Most of the time people are not prosecuted to the full extent of the law unless you're conservative going up against, the federal government and the EPA or something. So I think for the most part, the IRS, exactly. So I think for the most part, most Americans are not prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Will that make a difference here? Klingmeyer will hold the key to whether or not
he's the house
Willow.
owner.
Yeah, he's the guy. He was running the party, and that's who Willow was. It Bristol or Willow? Bristol struck several times in the face with her fist,
according to witnesses.
I got a question for you. He's a real gentleman. That's what Klingmeyer. That's what they're saying. 16th century, 17th century, whatever. Woman comes up, strikes the host in the face several times.
According to witnesses.
He's a gentleman, right? We'll go back to the 17th century. What does that gentleman do?
Well, tell us.
Woman?
He would slap her.
Wench?
Yeah, gentlemen treat ladies, right, like ladies. You don't go and slap the host several times with your fist. I don't know, just a thought. I'm just throwing it out there.
The thought to end the day, 8:58. Have a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. KOAN, KVNT.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in to Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Be sure to catch them every weekday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. on Hot Talk KOAN 95.1 FM, 1080 a.m. and online at 1080KOAN.com.
This is Olympic cross country